Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Slightly slow start today, but got a sleeping baby in my lap, so had I not been one-handed and had uh, the X app participated in starting this place on time, we would have been on time today. So progress. It's not that I can't get online on time, as we see with the Tesla Live show. Just munchkins, man, munchkins. Blame it all on them. So let's take a look at what we've got today. Got a bunch of stuff pulled aside, but not in the notebook because it's been a busy week. So I've got ideas about what I want to talk about. I've got topics pulled aside. Some stuff is pulled multiple times. First, let me take that medication so I don't have a sugar event. Guess first meal was a biscuit or two. Okay, let's see. Pull up the pull up the first thing we've got over here. It's not even first on the list. It's just what's on the other screen. So we're gonna share screen. Before we do that, we're going to sample the audio to make sure that we're coming in clear on the video feed. So let's find the mute button and go to echo for a moment. And if I push the button correctly, we hear it. And I don't hear anything. That cannot be good. So let's. I had the wrong camera this morning, so it wouldn't surprise me to see the wrong microphone. Or freeze. Oh, yeah, that sounds terrible. Let's check this. And then that. And maybe it'll stop sounding like a whisper in there. Maybe. Not. Ah, much better. Okay, so we'll unmute that and then let's start that again. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. Now, let's get started. I've got some stuff in my feed, but not in the notebook yet because I didn't do everything that belongs, everything it takes to get something that belongs in the notebook. And we're going to start in the middle, just based on what's on my other screen here. Now we're going to hit share screen, wait for the pinwheel. And then we're going to hit, where is, yeah, we'll do this one. So we'll share this screen, come back here, we'll arrange the layout the way I like. And as I said earlier, I've got a sleeping baby in my lap, so it be what it be. Now, Tesla FSD is finally approved in Europe, only not everywhere yet. The Dutch approval is a milestone for Tesla, but expanding beyond a single market will require more regulatory wins. So, from everything I was hearing, this was a kind of a shortcut to get what they need because of the European single market situation. Oh, I see what I did. There's actually two buttons there, and I hit the one that doesn't do anything. Let's get this a little higher. There we go. Now, well, because it's just like muscle memory with the right hand, but the right hand is on the mouse and also acting as baby pillow. So anyway, Dutch approval is a milestone for Tesla, but extending beyond the single market will require more regulatory wins. It's finally approved in Europe, but only the Netherlands for now. Europe's stricter rules and additional regulatory hurdles have slowed Tesla far more than in the US, which is probably not a bad thing to, just be a little more cautious. Still supervised driver assist, not the actual autonomous driving, but the Euro version of FSD has some differences. Hopefully they haven't nerfed it to smithereens like they did with the just the basic auto steer. Only been approved in Europe, but only one market. Breakthrough after a long and publicly frustrating wait for Musk. should open the door for broader European approval. Came from the RDW, which is the Dutch Vehicle Authority, after more than 18 months of testing and analysis on both public roads and test tracks. Wow. I need to reposition this because I don't have my pop filter and I'm hearing a lot of P's. Okay, as long as she doesn't book her head when she wakes up, we'll be fine. Let's see. In January, Musk said Tesla hoped to get approval in Europe next month. A timeline that, as usual, the man does not have a good relationship with the calendar. Tesla's been chasing approval in Europe, dealing with the tougher safety rules made rollout much more difficult than in the U.S. It said in a Friday email, for the past 18 months, Tesla's been working towards FSD supervised in Europe, and they produced thousands of pages of documentation, thousands of track test scenario executions, dozens of research studies on safety performance and results, and has given demos to regulators on almost every EU country. Today's announcement marks a significant milestone, opening the way to safer roads for all. So far, I'm not seeing anything bad about that, and they're in a unique advantage with their training simulation situation that they can uh, not just show how the system would perform in any arbitrary situation, but they also have seen just the inanity of humanity. And they'll have a lot of examples that they can demonstrate that maybe even the regulators had not considered. Excuse me, like it's some faking. That's fake bacon. All right. So far, it looks like our FSD is no hands on the wheel, eyes on the road. It's the same computer, same software. All right, so clearly they haven't sent any of the robotaxis over because there's no windshield washer over there. The way systems like FSD are certified for use on public roads in Europe is different from the US, where an automaker can essentially self-certify and regulators will intervene only if something goes wrong. That's what allowed Tesla to essentially use its customers, who had to pay thousands up front, to have FSD enabled in their vehicles before the service changed to a monthly subscription as beta tested for years. This would never fly in Europe. According to Tesla app, users who went on FSD ride-along suggest that the versions of FSD for Europe and the US differ. You've gone halfway through the article and haven't said how yet. One big difference is that instead of the speed profiles, which range from sloth to Mad Max in the US, in Europe, FSD has a max speed and max speed offset settings. Bring those back here. I want them back. This little speed demon. Oh, there's a 45. Let's do 67. No. Are you trying to get me a super speeder ticket and thrown in jail? Launched in October 2020 and was available only to Tesla employees and approved testers and the actual safest drivers rather than ones that Elon put into the first program and called the safest drivers who never had to go through that stupid test. The program grew over time, and by April 22, there were over 100,000 active users. FSD remained in beta until April of 24, when FSD version 12.3.3 rolled out as the first supervised version. However, the naming changed and is still essentially unfinished and remains so today. They note that FSD supervised requires active supervision and does not make the vehicle autonomous. The driver remains responsible at all times. And so both of my X screens went blank. There we go. Let's see, where were we? It offered ride-along experiences to over 13,000 people in Europe in preparation for a wider rollout, and says collisions are up to 7 times less likely per kilometer. I can see that. It sees some stuff, and it's pretty cautious most of the time. I explained the article published in October. It's not enough context for safer than humans claim. I'll give you that. Undeniable FSD may outperform a human driver as it has proven that it can predict dangerous situations and react better. Yeah, it's pretty good. Uh, Mine still has this nasty habit of trying to jump into high speed traffic without being able to see the full situation, though. And I say that because with the amount of inertia it throws into a blind left or a blind right, there's no way you could say it was going to do a little peek and go first. Let's see. This also isn't Europe swinging the doors open to robotaxis and unsupervised self-driving. A company that loves to move fast and promise the future early. It's a reminder that U.S. and Europe operate quite differently, with more testing, scrutiny, and bureaucratic supervision. RDW's approval is significant because it's for the first time a formal European approval for FSD. But to go EU-wide, Dutch authority must now forward the approval and its findings to the European Commission, and then member states will vote on whether to extend it to the entire bloc. That all seems quite reasonable. Excellent achievement. Can't wait for robotaxi 1,000 units per month. Congratulations on increasing their potential user base. Interesting that the first request for comments was like halfway through the article. It's like, yeah, most people want to finish this thing. So this will be interesting to watch. And I suspect that robotaxi and FSD unsupervised are going to be harder to get through over there. Yes, they'll have the data to show that it's using the same stuff as supervised, but imagine that like the taxi driver unions and all that will be even stronger than they are here. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Race recipe was so quick it needed NASA's help. This was not on the list, but I am curious because press X to doubt. I drive the Lexus LM luxury van in Japan. It redefines executive cars. We talked about this one. This is the one with the 6 wheels, right? BMW has 70 models coming 26. Here's all of them. Hyundai launches 2 sharp new Ioniq concepts from China. I purposely skipped that one because you guys know me in concepts, especially from companies that don't particularly do concepts well, like from concept to in your driveway. I've already got some articles pulled out for the Royal Enfield, but this one is a particularly motorcycle focused page. So let's pull theirs out. And yeah, let's go ahead and click on that Ferrari thing because I'm intrigued. Ferrari didn't want the loose. See, I don't even know how to pronounce that thing. Did they ever audibly? They gave us the controls and video and close up and all that, but I don't know the loose. Say, anyway. Didn't want the acceleration to disturb the passengers, so it went to the experts. Okay, I can see that because if you didn't just want raw power, then yeah, you might appreciate the help of somebody whose job is to minimize the G-forces. Yeah. Consulted experts at NASA about the car's acceleration. They did not want to disturb the passengers, which is interesting. It'll go from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, which is respectable. If not a little bit slow for what it is, but very respectable. And in the grand scheme of things, that's quite sprightly. It's just that when you look at their competition, it could be a couple tenths faster. So that's kind of cool. Don't need any more information than that because I'm not interested. Oh, you guys can't even see that. It opened a new window. So let's switch to the Lexus van thing, and then we'll get back on track, skipping around what I've actually already pulled out. The Lexus LM luxury van in Europe, or sorry, Japan, sorry, and it defines executive cars. Forget the executive sedan. A Lexus LM van is the first class mobile suite with full privacy, comfort, and understated elegance. You know what this kind of reminds me of? And I don't see the six wheels thing going on. I see just four wheels. This reminds me of the Faraday Future, but designed by a company that actually is known to produce. So for a car, you think of a black four-door sedan, likely from a German automaker. Cars such as S-Class, 7 Class dominate the streets. Here in Japan, you still stumble upon the benchmark of executive stands, like the Crown, or the old Crown, anyway. Unexpected player dominates the country, Lexus. Lexus offers a traditional executive sedan in the LS, but more intriguing, their luxury division is the LM. Also, this isn't the concept. This is the actual either prequel to that concept or they really screwed it up with the concept and just made a Lexus Sienna. Let's see. Sonic titanium paint. Chauffeur's dream. Ugh, I cannot stand that Lexus front end. It's like a train cowcatcher, uh, men's razor ad. Just appealing to me. Sorry if you like it. From the driver's seat. Uh, the car complements your chauffeur's driving skills with smooth acceleration, gentle braking, and the LM500H comes with Toyota's T24A FTS. So this is not um, that thing we saw the concept on. But the concept may be a continuation of this. Let me check on the screen that just turned off on me here. Oh, I've had chat going on and haven't seen you guys. I am so sorry. Good morning, Lee Moon. Lee also wants the max speed settings back. Lee gets into situations where FSD doesn't detect the proper speed limit. Profiles don't have enough fidelity to get the exact speed needed, and it's either too fast or too slow. Yes. There's one where if I come in from the street that feeds from the left, it reads 30 miles an hour. And there's another same street, feed from the street that feeds from the right. It sees the 45-mile-an-hour sign that it passes and acknowledges and ignores when it comes from the left. There it reads 45, and that still does the same slow speed for that same street, which is annoying at best. And this a street that's built like an on ramp where the speed limit's 45, not just on the ramp, but on the road that it feeds into and the road it left, where it says, this is an on ramp, let's launch it. And you're doing like 65 by the time you're almost to the other road. And yeah, 65 and a 45 is not cool with the constabulatory. Good evening, Anders. It's good to see you. And Lisa's hi, Anders, as well. So I was thinking this was that six-wheeled EV vans prequel or real production, but I think this might have been what inspired them to make that thing. It's like if they make the back wheels smaller, then they can have less intrusion of the wheel wells, and I think that would be a good evolution of what they're showing here. And since this is a hybrid, I'm not at all interested in what they have to show here. The backseat looks like an older version of what they showed in the concept, and that's kind of interesting looking. And scrolling through the pictures at this point. Okay, skipping that, let's go to here at Automobilos. Close the Lexus thing. VW says no new electric models for the USA for the time being, but it gets worse. It gets so much worse. Only the ID4 and ID Buzz by the end of the decade. The reason is the complex situation of the politicians' subsidy freeze, customs policy, and limited U.S. capacities. And, well, let's just say that the limited U.S. capacities is an excuse. And I thought I was going to have to go to another article for this, but yeah, it does get worse. Due to falling demand, so they claim, VW stops ID4 production in the USA. Volkswagen is ending production of the ID4 at the US plant in Chattanooga and wants to concentrate on high volume models. Get this, the focus is on the Atlas, but other brands could also produce in Tennessee. So the Atlas is the exact opposite of the ID4. It's a V6 or V8 multi-row SUV. And well, bleh. VW updates Chattanooga production strategy. It's coming from them directly. Let's see how they try to spin this. Atlas becomes the plant's primary model as US ID4 assembly concludes. So I'm curious how they plan to increase production, or not production, but sales of the Buzz and the ID4. If they don't make them here amid the, as they already described, difficult U.S. tariff situation. Because if you don't make them here, then it isn't a guarantee you can get them here. So let's see. Chattanooga VW Group of America announced today a strategic update to its production plans to enable momentum in the U.S. Market for the U.S. brand, for the Volkswagen brand. Let's see. Production of high demand vehicles, sustained growth. Sounds like an accountant is in charge of this, because numbers for numbers is not exactly what you want here, given that the fuel price has just gone through the roof. You're going to go ahead and stick yourself to a thirsty vehicle that people are going to have trouble filling up for the foreseeable future. Pathway for a new model. Exploring pathways to introduce a new product intended specifically to meet the U.S. consumer needs, in line with focus on high volume vehicles. Details will be announced as decisions are made. Now, they just told us prior to this from the mothership that they are not giving us any new U.S. models for the foreseeable future. So, do they think we're stupid? The answer is obviously yes, but wow. Volkswagen's commitment to Chattanooga and its workforce informed employees in the local union of the seems that the union might have an objection to that, which is a whiplash. Hourly team members currently supporting ID4 specific roles will be transferred to other positions within the plant based on seniority and in consultation with the local union. Special early retirement programs for eligible employees will be offered. Oh, okay, so now not only are you giving up production, you're letting your knowledge base out the door. Are you trying to die in America? Or there's one other possibility. That when they finally get serious again after political winds shift, they'll just fly in some Germans. It's a possibility. Because they aren't quitting in the rest of the world. Because look at this, more VW. Advanced batteries and vehicles to load lead raft of improvements for the Volkswagen ID4 and the ID5. And remember, we never got the ID5 in North America. And the ID4 just left the States. So they're not giving up on EVs. They're giving up on America. All right, then. Enhanced standard specifications across ID4 and 5 ranges. Improvements come with little or no extra cost, and new options are also available. Enhanced batteries and vehicle load capabilities are just two of the highlights among a raft of improvements for the ID4 and 5. Selected trims are now available with batteries that have more net capacity, greater power output, and longer ranges than available previously. The ID4 Pro 4Motion variants, for example, now offer punchier power and output of 299 PS. I'm not sure what PS is measuring, along with a more generous range of up to 341 miles per WLTP cycles. The batteries in a sporty GTX version for both models now have a smaller net capacity. The sport models have always had lower range, so why not make them even smaller? But if you make a smaller battery, you can get lighter weight, and that allows you to make it more nimble in corners. And if you've left the US market, people don't need as much linear range. So why not make them more fun in the twisties? But maintain the same potent power levels, and thanks to efficiencies everywhere, gain a few miles of potential range. Okay, so that's also pretty cool. So even though you've shrunk the battery, it still has more range than the previous model. Not bad. What's more, all changes to the standard specification come with little or no extra cost. On the road, recommended retail prices, including the VAT. Okay, so we go from 52 to 58 kilowatt hours on the pure essential and match. 77 to 79 kilowatt hours. So yeah, a couple kilowatt hours here and there. 2 on this model and 5 on this model. Not bad. The Pro Match 4 Motion and Black Edition 4 Motion, they remain the same. And the GTX 4 Motion drops by 2. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so, excuse me, this one stayed the same. And then this one drops to this battery. And then this one gets the battery from the old one, or at least the capacity. Power PS. I don't know what PS is. I don't know what PS is. 170 to 190. 286 remains the same. 286 to 299. And 340 remains the same. Range 222 to 265. 347 remains the same. 325 to 341. And even though they dropped the battery, it ranged up by 4 miles. So that screams to me they just did some wind tunnel aerodynamics tweaking rather than something that you'll actually see in the real world. But hopefully, it also means that if you go from this one to this one, you don't see a drop in the real world. This one had no net change as they promised. And yeah, these are measurable, but not significant price increases. So they kept their promise, £570 for these two and £655 for that one. And let's see. Oh, they have more. 77, 79, 77, 79, or 79 to 77, 77, 79, 52 to 58. No change. 570, 655. Is this just like the second table for this one? It does look like it. 7190, 286, 286, 343. Yeah, I think it's the same ones. Vehicle to load and bidirectional charging, among other things. That's actually really cool. Vehicle to load and bidirectional charging capabilities are among enhancements. Among the enhancements, where did it go? I've highlighted it and still managed to lose it. Sorry, guys. When used with one of 2 new optional adapters. Oh, so it's another one of those ones you gotta get out of the car to use the plug, which is fine if you're running a belt sander or cordless drill or a chop saw, but doesn't do you any good to run your laptop inside the car. Charge points into sources of electricity for other applications. Other changes include physical buttons. Oh yeah, that was something that was a big stink about the current versions, is they didn't have enough buttons. They had like double duty on the window switches, that sort of thing. So more physical buttons on the steering wheels, traffic assist, also front cross traffic alerts to help with safeguard pedestrians and cyclists. Improved one entertainment and driver attention monitoring systems, and phone charging from 5 to 15 watts. So from like sustaining a dead phone to giving it a slow charge, not bad. Oh, but it's inductive phone charging. So from sustaining a dead phone and heating it the heck up to the bare minimum of the old Apple charger, or the bare maximum of the old Apple charger. Either way, you actually get a charge in addition to a hot phone. And if they have the Qi 2 with the new magnets on it for both the Apple charger and everyone else that Apple donated, then that will also help mitigate the heating. And then they're just 10 watts shy of what it should be for that. 10 or 20 watts. I'll have to look it up, and I won't. It's higher than that. Two more useful enhancements are a more efficient heat pump. Good, but unfortunately it says optional. That should be standard. And for ID4 promotion variants only, an increase in the trailer load limit from 1,200 kilograms to 1,800 kilograms, braked 12%. That's interesting. Here in the States, we only require 10% brakes. But that's all right. All right, so let's get to police comments. Lee informed me that PS is horsepower in German is for Feldstock. Okay, interesting. And is it equal horsepower, or is it a different formula and it's just the equivalent of horsepower? I'm curious on that. Oh, okay, you got it right there. Metric horsepower calculation according to Google. Thank you very much. So, but if you're gonna go metric, why not just go kilowatts? Seems a bit American to be going on these goofball units instead of, but they're also German company, so I got to give that to them too. That's probably tradition, just like us with the horsepower, or the Brits with the BHP, even though they're more likely to measure something in kilowatts. Sensible units. Thank you, Lee. Okay, so let's call them horsepower. Even if it's not exactly a horsepower, it'll be close enough. So those numbers aren't bad. About 300 for the premium models, and almost 200 for the base model. Lee says the conversion is almost exactly a horsepower. PS is slightly higher numbers than HP. Okay, so then definitely like all of 200 horsepower for the base model, which is respectable today. And let's call it 300 horsepower to around 350 for the mid and sport models. I think that's a good move. Not that everybody needs a 400 horsepower sedan, but having what I have 500 horsepower sedan, 700 horsepower sedan bus is really fun. And then the new one of mine is what? Well, the new one getting ready to get canceled. One of mine is 1040, 1020. So just overkill. And so I think that is VW for the day until we get to. Let's jump to it. Another part of the show. Let's just jump to it now. Let's go ahead and switch to this. Close that. Got our recall segment. Track recalls and safety issues by NHTSA ID. This is a recall on, I don't remember. I think it's a Nissan Leaf. Yep. This is as of March 26, 2026. It's a park outside. High voltage battery modules may short circuit. Fire risk warning. Doesn't affect that many vehicles, but again, this is our recall segment. And since it's all EVs today, some of you guys might actually have some of these things. So, short circuit in a high voltage battery module increases the risk of a fire. NHTSA ID number 26 Victor 188000 for Nissan North America Incorporated. Electrical system. Potential affected units 51. Summary. And I don't know, 26 is the current New Leaf SUV thingy that replaced the Aria, or if it's the last of the old New Leaf that had the charges per day limitation because it was still air cooled. I don't know. I can look it up. But since we're still in 26 now, I don't know if they incremented to a 27 early. But either way, it's 51 of you guys. Pay attention if this is you. Nissan North America Inc. is recalling 2026 Leaf vehicles. The high voltage battery may have an internal damage that causes a short circuit within the battery module. For the remedy, the owners are advised to park outside away from structures and should not charge their vehicles until the remedy is completed. Ooh. That's a little bit more rough than typical. Usually, when you get a battery recall, it says don't go above 80 or 70 or 60%, depending on the manufacturer, so that you can actually still use the car until you get it fixed. This sounds much more imminent. Dealers will replace the battery modules or the battery free of charge, probably the whole battery, just because nobody has yet trusted their dealers to do work on the packs. I mean, I say nobody. You get the Volt with the stiffening campaign, but that was not module level work. That was take the cover off, make it stronger, put the cover back on. Here we go. The interim letters, which should be freaking emails and pop-ups in your app, followed by letters if you don't respond. Interim letters notifying the owners of the safety risk are expected to be mailed April 17th. So at least it's going to be this week. But again, March is over half a month before you bother to send the letters out. Additional letters will be sent once final remedy is available, anticipated in July of 26. Owners may contact Nissan's customer service at 800 647 7261. Nissan's number for this recall is Romeo 25 Foxtrot 1. Vehicle identification numbers involved in this recall became searchable on NHTSA.gov on March 27th, 2026. Well, at least our government is still functioning better than these manufacturers at the recalls. So if you have a 26 Nissan Leaf, come on over to NHTSA.gov, give them your VIN, and see if it tells you to stop charging your car. Then contact your dealer and get in line for a new battery. Yes, they may not do the new battery, but historically, nobody has ever tried to let their dealers do module level work. Nissan Leaf 26, got 4 documents, miscellaneous documents, recall acknowledgement, miscellaneous document, report, and miscellaneous document. I don't really actually want to read those PDFs. See, Lee says, I wonder if those 51 Leafs are early production or a manufacturing problem that cropped up later. I wouldn't think that many 26 Leafs are on the road yet. Okay, so this is the new one. Based on the way they worded it, it sounds like either during shipment. Oh, Star's here. Let's go ahead and give Star a microphone. Based on the way that they worded it, it sounded like these cells were damaged in either transport or during the production. Is this it's the way I read it? I'm curious now to see. I guess when they give us the fix, that should let us know. And yeah, I don't imagine there are that many, but if they're anything like Honda with their 60 batches, which are 230 batches back to back in one room, I would say that either this is like the initial rollout, or if it is like damage in transit, then there was a case of one pallet of batteries probably got screwed royally in the middle of it. Where's the Leaf produced? Tennessee. I don't remember. I do believe it is still in Tennessee. Yeah, or is that Smyrna or not Smyrna? The Tennessee Nissan plant. Yeah. All right, but they're not the only ones on our recall list today. We've got 3 of them. So let's go on over to the next one. We'll share this tab instead and close the first one. Who is this one? The reason I'm so confused by it is on my screen that I loaded these up on, they were much taller browser window than we've got here. Didn't have to scroll to see it. So let's see. So it's 26 Victor 189. Also March 26th is NHTSA campaign number 26 Victor 189000. Oh, that's cool. Even the government's willing to drop superfluous zeros. Sweet. This one is about improperly sealed side curtain airbags for FMVSS 226. Airbags with insufficient pressure retention increase the risk of ejection and injury during a crash. Yeah. If your side airbag isn't side airbagging correctly, that ain't good. This is manufacturer Chrysler, FCA, Fiat Chrysler Association from Stellantis, US LLC. components, airbags. A potentially number of affected units is 178,246. This is on the Pacifica and Voyager vehicles, and we know that the Pacificas are all plug-in hybrids, unless something changed and I was never notified. But they were all plug-in hybrids, which puts it right in our wheelhouse. I don't know if the Voyager is or not because I really thought that was canceled, especially since there's no Plymouth anymore. Let's see. So airbags could potentially deflate quicker than needed. I would say that, or they may not inflate properly in the first place. May have insufficient pressure retention from improperly sealed seams. As such, these vehicles fail to comply with requirements for Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, aka FMVSS, number 226, which is ejection mitigation. So this isn't just a supplemental restraint. I mean, it is, but it's not just a supplemental restraint if it's meant to help keep you from getting out of the car. The remedy: the dealers will replace the side curtain airbags as necessary, free of charge. Owner notification letters are expected to be mailed on May 14th of 2026. So I was just getting all up and down Nissan's case. This is worse. March to May. We're talking almost 2 full months before you mail your stupid letters out. And I don't know that these cars all have apps just because of their target market. So yeah, you should put it in whatever apps you have. You should email and then follow up any non-acknowledgements with letters, especially if it's going to take you this long to make your letters. This is there's no reason letters should take this long in this day and age. Yes, you got to do the mail merge, print them, get them in there. But with today's technology, it shouldn't take that long to get a print house and a mailing house together to do your business. These are safety issues. This is unacceptable, especially since half of the people probably don't even need the printed mailed information. But that's a rant for another day because we got one more recall coming up. Owners may contact Chrysler customer service at 800-853-1403. Chrysler's numbers for this recall are 06 Delta, 10 Delta, and 11 Delta. Vehicle identification numbers involved in this recall will be searchable on nhtsa.gov beginning April 2nd of 2026, which has already passed because the notice was published in March 26th. So this was 10 days ago today that they went in there. Recall expands previous NHTSA recall numbers 25 Victor 25 Victor 302 and 25 Victor 573. Vehicles previously repaired under a prior recall will need to have the new remedy completed. You recall them for insufficient airbags and the recall is not good enough? Wow. I mean, again, it's a good thing they're doing the right thing, not burying it up and hiding it and whatever, but at least here you can still drive your car around, but do, be careful about rolling over or getting T-boned or side glanced. But at least it's not going to set your house on fire. It just might throw your loved ones out the window. Pacifica from 2022 to 2026, and Voyager from 2022 to 2026. And that makes sense because the Voyager, the Pacifica, and the Dodge Caravan were always the same vehicle. And there were differences, obviously. Highlander will tell you that, but there weren't any significant differences between any of these. I've got a lot of information here. Recall acknowledgement report, notice the dealers, email notification. Oh, so you can use email. Another email notification. So if you can use email, then it's even less acceptable that they have these paperwork delays. That's not the one I wanted to click on. All right, so it's the right side curtain, left side curtain, and left side curtain. On May 8th, file the recall. Wait. This is the old one. On May 8th, 25. They filed a recall notice. On June 27th, 25, NHTSA conducted ejection mitigation testing on 25 model year Chrysler Pacifica, where the left and right CABs did not pass an excursion limit requirement. Wow. So the government said, hey, that's a lot of cars. Let's retest you. Oh, you failed. Ew. On July 31st of 25, let me switch screens because I was thinking it'd be a quick glance. On July 31st, 25, the U.S. Technical Safety and Regulatory Compliance, or TSRC, organization opened an investigation into some 25 Chrysler Pacifica and Voyager models, each vehicles which may have been built with CABs that may not retain sufficient pressure during deployment. September 25th, Fiat Chrysler filed with NHTSA recall 25 Victor 573 82 Charlie for the 25 model year Chrysler Pacifica and Voyager built with cabs that may not have retained sufficient pressure during deployment. The population of 82C was determined through CAB material, not lot traceability, and vehicle production records. From September of 25 through February of 26, FCA continued to meet regulatory requirements with the supplier. FCA engineering and supplier quality organizations to review data and determine if additional vehicles are potentially affected. I can't hear you on Twitter. Oh, hold on. Yeah, me neither. It just died. Go to sleep, baby. X crashed over on the tablet. So let's find me, and then from me, we will reconnect. It crashed again. Okay, I'm unmuting on the phone. So X on the tablet crashed. I'm glad I opened it up on the phone today. And let's get it reconnected. And rejoin. Okay. And reconnect to space. You should hear me twice in just a second. All right, check on X spaces. You hear me twice? Okay. Oh wait, once. Let me unmute. There we go. And now I'll mute here. There we go. Let me turn this down a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. And thanks for the warning. So, oh, it still says connecting over there. Oh, it still says connecting over there. Let me force it closed and open it back up again. Okay. And then Elon woke up my baby. Yikes! So Robert's bringing up a good point on the X spaces. I don't know if I get the microphone closer. That the mail delivery is on its own is doing pretty poorly. Let me start X on the tablet again. I might have to reboot the whole tablet. X. Go to Kacey. Join the space. Reconnect. Unmute. All right, it says it's connected. How's it? Is there two of me now? I think there is. It says there is. Okay. So I'm going to mute this one on the phone. And now that we're reconnected, Robert was saying that that the mail has become unreliable over in his area. So the email is probably not a bad idea. maybe a multi-prong, but still, I still like the way of just making sure. I mean, I guess mail can just be a blaster, but with all the various electronic ways, making them confirmation, like, hey, here's the message. Check this box that you got the message. But we'll see how that goes. Mm. Sorry about that. It was a stretch to reach the tablet and fight with it. Steve Jobs was talking about gorilla arms. He wasn't wrong, but he also wasn't right that nobody would want to do that touchscreen, as evidenced by the iPad, which still can't do X spaces for some reason. I'll blame Elon for that as well. Grab a swig of this beverage. So let's go back to see when the beginning of that was again. So over a year, not over a year. Let's call it a year though, because May is close enough to April now, and March is when the second tier of the recall came out, and the fact that they failed the test for the remedy is really. I'm glad that the government went back and retested it, but that's so. They were like, "Hey, we're done. Dust our hands." And the government's like, "Yeah, nah." So, I mean, anytime anybody wants to complain about regulations right there, I mean, yeah, they may be onerous and require too much paperwork, but sometimes they do the job. Oof. So, on March 5th, FCA USTSRC recognized that a supplier manufacturing issue existed in certain additional cabs that may not retain sufficient pressure during deployment, potentially resulting in a non-compliance with FMVSS number 226, again for ejection from vehicle. On March 19th, FCA, March 19th of 26 and March 5th of 26, FCA determined through Vehicle Regulations Committee that non-compliance with FMVSS 226 potentially exists in all affected vehicles. Okay, so this is worse. So not only did the fix fail to fix on at least some of the vehicles, they then determined that this was the whole population, the whole production run. So that explains why there were so many in that notice that we just read earlier. And remedy type is replace. And because this is not a fire risk, it's not a do not drive, and it's not a park outside required. However, I wonder if this is on all vehicles now, or if this is only on cars with giant batteries. Interesting. Or this is still serious. FCA will conduct a voluntary recall on a voluntary safety recall on all affected vehicles to replace one or both of the CABs as needed. For vehicles in FCA recall ID 06D or Delta, FCA will replace both CABs for vehicles in FCA US recall 1 Delta. Recall ID 10 Delta. FCA will replace the driver's side CAB. For vehicles in FCA recall ID 11 Delta, FCA will replace the passenger side CAB curtain airbag. Wow. I'm glad that they keep records of these things, like lot numbers, batch numbers. And I do think that now with the compute we have and the storage, I wonder if we can't do like Tesla claims to do, where the computer goes in first and it's logging the torque of every bolt that goes in as it runs down the line. And I say claims just because we haven't seen it proved out, but as we also see, it's able to calibrate its cameras, and as soon as it touches on the ground, it's able to go deliver itself in Austin. So it's not unheard of. It's not that many bolts it's keeping track of the torque of, and it stores it in the MCU and it stores it in the mothership. Interesting. But this wasn't even the one I was going to click on. But I guess I'm still going to click on the one I was going to click on because now I'm curious what they told the dealerships. Wow. Plan notification day is April of 26. Interim owner release. Interim owner notification date none. No dealers, no owners, phased recall. So it's not a phased recall, which I'm assuming that that was the case for the Takatas because the Takata recall on their airbags was a big hunk of mess, shooting shrapnel at the drivers and passengers as they have one of the worst days of their lives. Not good. Date when the VIN will be searchable, April 2nd. We talked about that. So let's go back to the recall notice and close that PDF. And I want to click on notice to dealers. Do I want the latest one? The first one. 161.826.9541. Let's do that. Oh, don't download it. I don't want to download it. I don't own a Chrysler. I don't need a copy of the download for the dealers. Don't push a download that way either. I rejected it in the download manager, so it opened up in the download for the browser. And looks like we don't get a copy of it. I just wanted to look at it. Can I just look at it? Let's open it in a new tab. Still downloads. We're not going to look at it today. We will. If it downloads in the browser, I should be able to click it into a tab. Open file. Yep, it does open into a tab. So let's share this tab instead. And then I got to remember to go delete it so it doesn't end up in my document cache. Lee says my 2011 Honda CRZ was subject to the Takata airbag recall. Local dealership took care of it promptly for me. Yeah, my Volt and Model S were both part of the Takata recall. And how did it go for both of them? It was straightforward. I just had to wait their turn because they were both 2012. So they were, 2016 and 2012. So they were later in the series. So they weren't first run. Did I take the Volt in to get it done? Or did I already sell it by then? Did I even get the Tesla done? I might have sold both vehicles before their number came up. I don't remember. I'm sure I could look it up, but I'm where I'd look it up is the problem because my digital life is strewn about. I'm working on it. I've got, like I said, I've got a document cache that I want to keep this document from ending up in. We'll fix that in just a minute after I read it. Some of the vehicles may have been built with an airbag that obtained service action. They'll conduct a safety recall. We ask that you please take the time to ensure your personnel are aware of this communication and are prepared to execute a customer-friendly process for inquiries regarding involved vehicles. Whether it actually worked or not is a whole nother question. But I'm assuming this went to the service departments, and then the service manager could let the sales team and customer service teams know what was happening. The reason I point that out is the number of us that know more than our salespeople at any brand from Honda, Toyota, Tesla, Chrysler. It's not uncommon for the customer to know way more about the car than the person trying to sell it to them or service it. All right, so we're done with the Chrysler recall for now. I need to go back and delete that file before I forget. Just because once it's in my document archive, it's a lot harder to remove it. Especially since it backs it up like 8 million times. All right, so I need to ask the browser what the thing was called. Oh, I can delete it from here. Right click, delete file. Doesn't matter what it was called. It's gone. Okay. Last part of our recall segment for today, unless something happens before the end of the show. This one is for those of you familiar with the BZ4X from Toyota and the Stellantis, not Stellantis, the Subaru Solterra launch editions. You'll know what I'm about to say next. It's not about them, thankfully. Here we go. March 27th of 2026, loose wheel bolts. Incorrect wheel bolts can allow allow a wheel to loosen or detach from the vehicle, increasing the risk of a crash. Which is not what we want to see. There's got to be a way to turn off the screen off feature while I'm on a space. I need to see if there's like a quick action button I can put on the curtain to leave the screen on until I say so. Especially if it's plugged in. I think I'll look that up next. This one is from Mercedes-Benz USA LLC. So again, another company that's been around for over 100 years that should know how to keep the wheels on a vehicle, just like Toyota. That failed. This one is only 3,734 vehicles may have a wheel fall off, potentially, while the Toyota BZ population was like over 50,000 vehicles, I believe they said it was, that they 50,000 or 5,000? 15,000. It was a five multiple, and it was ridiculous. Again, that a company over 100 years old had trouble keeping the wheels on a car. And yes, their excuse that these were Torx bolts or hex bolt or whatever, where the interface was inside the material, doesn't really matter compared to the fact that the external interface is ridiculous. Let's see, we've got Teen of Paint would like to speak. All right. Let's see what you have to say. Approve. Good afternoon, Teen of Paint. Okay, so it takes a second after you give them the microphone for it to reconnect their audio stream, because they go from the mass stream to the bidirectional interface, which is a much smaller group. And let's see.
Paint, lovey.
Hi, how are you?
Teen of Paint.
Yes. How are you doing today?
And I'm a singer. I write songs and do little and bits and bobs.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How
I
are you?
wrote a new song called Sexistential. You ever heard it?
I have heard a song called Sexistential. I don't know if I've heard your song. Yeah. Lee said, speaking of government paperwork, I have to file an amended.
Well, my new song, Sexistential, it's really fun, and it goes a bit like it goes. So I was about to go have a kid on my own, and then my doctor said, "No, Robin, who would be a dream?"
Okay. I have heard that song. That was the one I was thinking of, but I cannot do licensed music on here. All right, I'm gonna unmute everybody now. Because
yes, it goes. I like to go out.
Okay, so again, I cannot do licensed music on here. If you do it again, I will have to eject you from the room. I'm sorry. Okay. So.
With something nice.
All right, Teen. It was nice having you. We'll talk to you next week. Okay, everybody's unmuted again. All right, so Lee has to file amended return of all things. Forgot to include the EV tax credit form. Took me a day to find the form by sitting by my desk. Whoops. Indeed. Yes, so we have until Wednesday for the initial filing. You've got a little bit more time for the amend. But yeah, get that in as soon as you can, because with the personnel changes in the IRS, it's gonna make things go all amok.
You're way too kind, Casey.
I am. I am. But when she said the title, I was like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." And then she started. I was like, "Oh, I know the song. It's a good song, but it's not a song I have the rights to perform or re-perform, and I don't want Robin coming after me." I was listening to a story the other day about, I want to say it was not to say Doja Cat or Nicki Minaj, but it was somewhere in that wheelhouse where they thought that Madam Tracy Chapman would be amenable to people using her materials without proper permission. So they went ahead and did the song. I don't know if they published the song, but they went ahead and did the demo at least, and then they got a hefty lawsuit. And like, oh, but it's already out. You're not gonna, just gonna take this money and go. And she said, nah, bro. And so she exerted her rights and got a nice little settlement for it. So I don't know that anybody else is gonna mess with her like that. That's why the Luke Combs situation was kind of cool, because it was authorized, and not only was it authorized, but she actually went ahead and performed with him because she liked the way it was done. So that was cool to see. But yeah, Lee said he already fixed it and sent it back. So excellent work. And I've got to make sure I've got all of my ducks in a row, because I just downloaded the software yesterday and haven't started on anything, which is not good given how long it normally takes me to complete these papers. But we've been dealing with my wife's channel, getting it all contented up, and these little munchkins here, they demand attention. At least as I have a 14-song album and a single, but I won't make anyone suffer from sharing them here. For those of you who are familiar with the Tesla Life Show, that is one of Lee's works there, where we use that as the intro, outro, and bumpers, which is quite fun. And he's got a remix of it that I'm eager to hear at some point, but only when he's ready to share it. So that'll be fun to see. And let's see. So that is the recall segment for today. Oh wait, we didn't actually finish. So the 2025 G580 vehicles. I'm understanding this is a hybrid. I'll have to double check. It's not that I am opposed to doing a non electrified vehicle on here. I just don't want to give you guys the wrong information. Mercedes-Benz electric G-Class. Yes, so it is a fully relevant car. Because you guys have seen, I did just a pure gas car the other day, 4 months ago? Just because it was just so striking. Oh yes, so the Toyota situation was, they were saying that it was because they switched from just the standard lug nuts where you put the the SAE or the metric socket over the outside to the stick that goes on the inside of the. It's not an excuse for why you have the wrong torque, or they fail to maintain. And generally, you want your wheel bolts to work without something like Loctite. So, remedy, dealers will replace the wheel bolts free of charge. Owner notification letters are expected to be mailed May 22nd of 26. Owners may contact the MBUSA customer service at 1-800-367-6372. VIN numbers involved in the recall became searchable on April 2nd. One associated product is the G580 EV. I guess I could have figured it was that from there without doing the search, huh? Risk recall acknowledgement, notice to dealers, and recall 573 report. So let's look at the notice to dealers. This one didn't force a download on me. I don't have an option to share screen. Is it still sharing this screen? Okay, good. Even better. Wait, no. It forced a download. That's what happened. I saw a screen pop up and thought it moved us. I'm going to cancel it here. That way it goes to the browser so we can look at it in the browser. And sure, put it in downloads. I don't care. Open it here. Switch this tab instead. Let's make it full screen. News channel update, vehicle compliance and analysis, MB dealer principals, general managers, sales managers, service managers, and parts managers. Campaign number not applicable. HTSA ID 26 Victor 198. Description 26 Papa 219 5508. Total recall population is 3,734. Vehicles in dealer inventory is 206. I do like it when they catch the recalls at the lot, because then you can pick up the car with everything already performed. And even better is that you can have the service personnel, they are already practiced on the local guinea pig from the lot. Also, that allows them to determine if any of the instructions are insufficient. Sometimes they will have extra steps or not enough steps, and the mechanics get to figure it out for themselves, but on a car that is still fully under not just warranty, but just fully manufacturer supported at that point. And that also takes me back to Patrick's service appointment where he had the update on the Leaf, and they didn't even download the file, even though he had the appointment over a week out. They should have already had the file because the place he bought it from, he's in the northwest, where the Nissan Leaf was not uncommon, and his dealer had even less reason to not have the file ahead of time. I got 2 stars. I love X Spaces. Let's see when he comes back if we need to hand him another microphone or if it remembers. Let's see. Mercedes-Benz AG, manufacturer of Mercedes vehicles, has decided that a defect exists. They decided, determined, noticed. Okay, good. Getting back the microphone. Defect exists on certain subject vehicles in which the wheel bolts might not meet current production specifications. The wheel bolt's connection to the wheel hub might loosen while driving. That's not good. This could impair driving stability, which could increase the risk of a crash. You don't say. MB USA will conduct a voluntary recall. Authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer will replace the bolts on the affected vehicles with a new bolt variant. See, this is another one of those cases where I kind of want them to tell you to stop driving the car. Unless they can say to the customer, hey, make sure your torque is this amount of Newton meters before you come to the dealer to get them replaced. Remedy is not yet available. Effective VINs will be flagged in VMI as pending on Thursday, April 2nd. The campaign will be visible on htsa.gov website and may generate questions from customers. May. Given this notice, it is a violation of federal law for dealers to sell or lease any vehicle in dealer inventory covered by this notification until the vehicle has been repaired. This is true of all the others, but I'm always glad to see when they remind them. Not that they need the reminder, but it is nice to see that they do remind them. Violations of federal law may result in civil penalties, or worse, depending on what happens. Loaner and demonstrator vehicles may continue to be driven, but must not be retailed until repaired. Also, it's the same as a customer car. Hey, your car's got a wheel bolt recall. Drive this car with a wheel bolt recall until yours is ready. Once the remedy is available, vehicles will be flagged as open and work instructions will be available. As a matter of normal service process, please check for other repair measures which might be applicable to the vehicles. This is something I do on my vehicles regularly. I check the VINs for bulletins and recalls. So I can only really check the recalls depending on who makes them. But if I'm communicating with service at any point, I'll say, hey, got any bulletins for me? And sometimes they'll just tell you straight up. Other times you have to use the magic words that are in the bulletin before they'll acknowledge it and do anything about it, which I really hate that method. Rental companies to rent vehicles covered by this notification until the vehicle has been repaired. Violations of federal law may result in civil penalties. While we regret any inconvenience this may cause, MB USA is determined to maintain a high level of vehicle quality and customer satisfaction. Please refer all customer inquiries to the customer care center at 1-800-4-MERCEDES. That's FOR Mercedes. Does that phone number actually fit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, it doesn't. I guess as you're dialing, it's just like, yeah, whatever. Here's what you're called. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, no, it doesn't fit. A phone number is 10 digits in the States. I need to send the remixes to you, probably via text. I'll get on that. I look for recalls and also pre-flight my cars, but didn't walk around before driving, except in bad weather if outside. Yeah, I try to keep up on it. I'll actually measure stuff regularly, and I do a walk around, see if anything's weird, any noises. I increase the scrutiny. It's a minor extra bit of faff, but it's so worth it. So that is the end of our recall segment for now. Let's go back to Nissan again, just because, well, let's just go back to Nissan again. So Nissan has scrap plans for an off-road EV. The adventure-focused EV won't be so electric after all, which means that it won't be an EV. Nissan is scrapping plans for an off-road EV and is now planning to launch the fan-favorite SUV with gas and hybrid-powered variants. This is disappointing, but again, this is a very popular vehicle in the U.S., and a ton of companies are taking advantage of lax in the government. Let's call it lax. But they're acting like just because the gas price is up, well, I guess that's not a good one. They're acting like just because there are less pressures towards EVs, that means that nobody wants EVs. But really, what they're saying is it's cheaper for us to just keep up with what we've always done, even though it's like a Rube Goldberg machine, and we can then advertise and push discounts and just customer sentiment towards the gas. We can spread more FUD and not have to learn anything new, not have to retool, not have to get new supply lines. And we get to keep up on the maintenance train because combustion cars require way more maintenance than EVs, as well as if they do get any kickbacks from the fossil industry, they get to lean on those as well. The Xterra was cool back in the day. It would have been cool to see an off-road Xterra come to the market. Yeah, it would be, and they were almost there until they decided to get into political stuff. For Xterra EV, yeah, I figured that's what you meant. So it was just a year ago that Nissan announced plans to produce 10 new new or refreshed vehicles for North America by 27. And following the updated 26 Leaf EV, the Rogue, Pathfinder, and Sentra, really a Sentra EV, that is exactly what we need right now. Low price, nice little runabout. Nissan said an all-new adventure-focused electric EV would join the lineup in 28. And now they've changed their mind. The rugged new EV, which we later learned would be the next-gen Xterra, was scheduled to be built at Nissan's Canton, Mississippi plant in the U.S. with the locally sourced batteries from SK On. I mean, that all sounds really cool. Although the Xterra was a hit more as an affordable off-road SUV than the Toyota 4Runner and Bronco, Nissan pulled it from the lineup in 2015 as more efficient options like the CR-V and RAV4 arrived. Yeah, and crash regulations and fuel regulations. According to this guy, Pandukita, I royally screwed his name, I'm sorry, Senior Vice President, Chief Product Planning Officer at Nissan Americas, the Xterra EV won't be so electric after all. He told Car and Driver on the sidelines of the New York Auto Show that the upcoming Xterra will be available as a gasoline V6 and a V6 hybrid, but no purely electric vehicle version. And by the way they phrase that, I'm assuming that's not even a plug-in hybrid V6, like the Mitsubishi Outlander. I saw one of those the other day. Always fun to see. There will be a pure ICE version. He said without any electrical assistance. You do realize that the pure ICE version is actually worse than even the hybrid one as far as control. Then we could build a hybrid off of that. So that means the hybrid's really gonna suck. If it's not even planned to be a hybrid, you just take what was already there and shove a battery and motor in it. Not good. As to what type of hybrid remains up in the air, what hybrid execution looks like when it debuts, how many months after the ICE version, is still a work in progress at this point. Since they didn't say plug-in, assume not, and then that tells us it's going to be either a mild or strong hybrid. And well, here in the States, we don't do many more mild hybrids other than start-stop engines, and we don't even advertise those as hybrids anymore. But that would be the least compromising version in a car that wasn't built with hybrid in mind. And then a strong hybrid would be like every Prius ever, where it's got a planetary gear set, there's less moving parts, and get infinite gear ratios, all that stuff. Infinite gear ratios would be great on an off-road car. That or, electric torque from zero for one. Our politicians have messed up cars for a while, maybe forever, because if Elon's right, then these are the last of the manually driven cars ever. And once you're not manually driving a car, why buy an off-roader, right? The comments come after he told Motor Trend in December that the next gen Xterra cannot be ICE only. Huh. Is that an EREV? Is that a parallel hybrid? Is that a plug-in hybrid? That's not defined yet. It's all actively being studied right now. Mm-hmm. Like the Frontier, the upcoming Xterra is expected to use a body-on-frame construction with an updated version of the current 3.8-liter V6. Electric says Nissan's already pulling the Aria from the US following the 26 model year and scrapped plans to introduce the more affordable Leaf S. That one is a bigger slap in the face to our market. The Leaf is now only a pure EV, or the Leaf is now the only pure EV Nissan offers in the US. And Nissan is among several automakers, including Ford and GM, scaling back major electric vehicle projects in the US following the current administration's policy changes. Now, you hear them all touting, "Oh, well, the sales have slumped and the blah blah blah, and this and that." They're all quoting quarter one. Quarter one is always soft in this continent, so to use that as justification for EV slump. All right, what did your gas cars do during that period? Oh, they also fell off a cliff. Maybe we look at them comparatively. No, we don't do that. Lies and statistics. While the 26 Leaf is one of the most affordable EVs in the US alongside the new Chevy Bolt, it won't be for long as Kia, Rivian, Toyota, and others launch new lower-priced alternatives. Which is a shame because it would have been just a slight tweak for them to compete with the Bolt for all of its run. And then as Electric points out, everybody else is coming to market too. The Leaf is a cornerstone of Nissan's comeback plan, but it's off to a slow start with just 668 models sold in the first quarter. Ooh, 668, 53, 51 of those having the recall is a significant percentage. Sold in the first quarter, Toyota sold over 10,000 BZ electric SUVs during the same period. Yeah, so Toyota's electric numbers are skyrocketing comparatively. By canceling plans for another EV, Nissan's just setting itself further behind. Yeah, so basically, Nissan entered North America with the Leaf, as Chevy came out with the Bolt, and shortly thereafter, the model Tesla Roadster came out, and Nissan had a lead for many, many years, and they squandered it, and they're ready to repeat that mistake. Lee says the ICE vehicles may be falling off the quarterly cliff even faster due to the current petroleum price. Exactly. That's why the Volkswagen Atlas thing was a weird choice because gas prices are going through the roof. What do we want? A 3-row SUV. Where do we want it? We want to replace the electric car with it. Okay, smart move. Commenting has ended. This comment didn't even make the article, so I'm curious if it's any good. We shall see. Let me click on these screens here so we don't lose the tablet again. Bernard says they should have rebranded the Nissan Leaf. Any search on Nissan Leaf returns thousands of do not buy Leaf articles. This is true. Sure, most of those will be about early Leafs, but who wants to buy a car that's known for failed batteries and angry owners? Yeah. Yes, it's a completely different car now, but the name will be haunted by the battery issues in the US of early generations. In my opinion, they would have been better off restyling a little and making the little Kicks EV. Oh, that would have been cool. Taking an old, unused brand or picking up something new. Yeah. Because like other Japanese automakers, Nissan doesn't actually want to succeed with EVs because they want to lose their spare parts revenue. They don't want to lose their spare parts revenue stream. But see, that's the thing though, is if you're smart about it, you can still have a spare parts revenue stream. That's why Toyota's BZ4X was such a POS in the first iteration. They only improved it because they were losing sales to the Chinese in China. That's their biggest market. Good point. Good point. The success of the new BZ has probably surprised Toyota, and now they have to keep up. Have to keep making them because demand enhanced revenue share. The Japanese makers are generally extremely reluctant to succeed with EVs or try anything new. What is the reason of such low sales? See the above thread. Nissan is such a joke today, and so are EVs with their paltry range in America. Over in China, you buy a solid state vehicle with more than twice the range of American and Japanese, and for half the price. China 2, America 0. Well, I mean, you can't just blame America for that. You just said the Japanese are failing us too. Now you can buy EVs with semi-solid batteries in China. Chinese EVs that claim really long range on the very optimistic LTC cycle. Name the Chinese EVs with more range than Lucid Air Touring with 5 and 12 miles EP range. I don't speak Chinese, but I don't think any Chinese EV is as efficient. They have better, cheaper batteries, lots of tech, and about 10 times as many EVs available for less money, but not more efficient drivetrains. And insufficient range is not relevant for most US buyers. It's a fossil fuel FUD tactic. I'll give you that right there. Most people drive much less than 100 miles per day. Stopping and recharge on long trips is not the end of the world. Yeah, as long as there's an infrastructure, and we've got superchargers everywhere. And Stellantis, of all groups, finally joined the Supercharger Coalition long after they joined the NACS. So all we've got that can't use superchargers now are Chatamo vehicles and the VinFast. So there's no excuse. Plus, look at all the other third-party networks that are still slowly growing in the States. You got the Mercedes network, you've got IONNA, you've got EVgo, you've got Electrify America. There's little reason to not be able to do a road trip in America unless you're like in Alaska in an EV. Or northern Canada. For pity's sake, it's not models, it's units or vehicles. Leaf is a model. Individual cars are sold. Units or vehicles. Why is every writer on EV sites making the same mistake? Are they also ignorant or writing about things they don't understand? I'm wondering if it's just a shorthand or a colloquialism that they made up. Nissan scraps. Insert anything here. Lee says he left Chattanooga with 61% state of charge, headed back to Southeast Georgia. Didn't think twice about it. Supercharged twice on the way home. Super easy. Exactly. I mean, the amount of times I plan my charging on a trip anymore is just like I can't even remember the last time I had to do it. I have done it a couple times just because I want to pick the chargers, but that's. Was that Robert? You came in a little far away. They could have had me on the delay or had him on the delay as well. So let's give him a second to respond. And while I give that a chance to buffer, let's go to the next thing. Because I gotta love these boats, these ferries. We talk about them every time they hit the news, and this is no different. Candela, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got the noise to the next door, but I sent you the link for the Bing search for the vans. We have the other ones, the college, which is a pure van, and then we've got the other mini ones.
Oh, cool. I'll take a look.
Yeah, the Leaf van.
Oh yes, the EV 200. That was a cool vehicle. Do they still make it new, or is it gone? No, that one had a fan in the battery pack, not quite cooling, but it was more than the regular Leaf had. So the Candela P12, already in production, will soon hit the Norwegian fjords, providing zero-emission silent transportation for tourists and commuters alike. And this is going to be 20 of these hydrofoil ferries, EVs. Pretty cool stuff. Soon, tourists and commuters along Norway's stunning coastline.
But they still have them here, and
so they still have them there. That's cool to hear. Norwegian operator Boreal AS, a leader in sustainable transport, has ordered 20 P12 electric hydrofoil vessels from Sweden's Candela technology, making the world's largest electric fleet to date. That is really cool. The uniquely fast and silent hydrofoiling vessels will speed up commuting along Norway's fjord-lined coast, where water travel is an essential part of daily transport. And the cool thing with that is, with computer control today, not only do they get the fuel efficiency and the minimal wake, they get the speed boost, and it's not as taxing on a pilot because the computer is keeping the thing balanced. Norway is already the most electrified car market, with around 99% of car sales fully electric. Electrifying the high-speed passenger vessels Batar, I'm sorry. The backbone of rural transport has, however, remained challenging. Conventional e-ferries lack the range and speed to replace the diesel-powered fast ferries that are connecting communities across the country's deep fjords and more than 100,000 kilometers of coastline. The Cadella P12, however, solves this. It combines the cruising speed of 25 knots with a range of around 40 nautical miles, enabling electric operation on routes previously served only by diesel vessels. Furthermore, the large fleet of 20 vessels will provide more frequent departures and speed up travel times. Plus, that's with today's technology. Imagine as they put MCS on the ferries to charge them faster, and they can afford to put bigger and safer batteries as the battery tech continues to improve. A Candela P12 is the only electric passenger vessel that combines longer range with high speed without requiring expensive charging infrastructure. Our investment will enable new high-speed routes in both cities and rural areas, says Nikolai Nudsmon Utheim, CEO at Borrell. Norway has already led the electrification of maritime transport. With this fleet, Borrell will wants to take the next step, accelerating zero-emission high-speed travel along the Norwegian coast and helping electric vessels to new markets beyond Norway. With the P12's unique performance from computer-controlled hydrofoils, wings mounted beneath the hull, that lift the vessel above the water at speeds above 18 knots. By flying above the waves, drag is drastically reduced, energy consumption drops by 80% compared with conventional vessels of similar size, and already in successful use in Stockholm's public transport. I wonder if Anders has written on these. Sorry, in successful use in Stockholm's public transport, the P12 has been hailed as a game changer for transport, combining lower operational cost and environmental impact. Hey, Anders, if you have written on this, I'm curious your brief review on it. Furthermore, the efficient P12 can fully recharge in an hour using standard DC car fast chargers, avoiding the expensive megawatt scale charging systems required by conventional electric ferries. Huh. So they don't need MCS, is what they're saying. But what could they do with MCS? Maybe as an option, right? The capability was recently demonstrated during a voyage between Sweden and Norway when the P12 was completed the longest electric sea journey to date, recharging along the route using a mobile battery system transported by Ford F-150 Lightning pickup. That's cool. So it doesn't sound like they charged off of the F-150. It sounds like the F-150 was dragging their mobile battery. That's actually still kind of cool. So I heard you like electric dogs. So I put an electric truck hauling an electric trailer in your electric ferry, and you can recharge the electric ferry off with the electric battery inside the ferry. Yes. But I can also see, why you wouldn't want the extra expense of putting that size battery in the boat all the time. If this is we talked about corporate bean counters all the time. They know what they need. They've got their routes planned. Yeah, they could like some flexibility, but they don't need as much flexibility as us private operators would, and so they would appreciate the lower cost. And so that's why to do a stunt like that, they had to bring a battery along with them because they just don't have a regular model that needed that. At least those Candela hydrofoils are cool, and they can shore power recharge while loading and unloading, which I assume takes some time prior to turnaround, which makes the good use of time for charging. That's a good point too. That you got the shore power, and if you just use a regular, cheaper car DC charger than a megawatt charger, that reduces your costs to get underway. And like you said, I didn't even consider the amount of time to load and unload is probably enough that they can just run like a 1000 volts 350 kilowatt charger, just run it flat out for the entire time. Because with a megawatt charger, they'd be done in 15 to 30 minutes, and if it takes an hour to load it up, okay, probably doesn't take that long, but if it takes more than 30 minutes, then that is indeed a waste of funds and capacity to build out that wiring to the port. The first two P12 vessels will be delivered in 27 and are planned to enter service on one of several potential routes currently being explored in Norway and abroad. The remaining vessels will follow in yearly batches between 2028 and 2030. Passengers will also see a major upgrade in comfort. Yeah, because it's not rattle trapping you all over the place. Passengers will see a major upgrade. The vehicle's digital flight controller, I was talking about that one, reads wave conditions using sensors and adjusts the hydrofoils in real time, ensuring a smooth ride, even in rough seas, while keeping cabin noise extremely low. That was something else I noticed on my first ferry that I rode, was that how hard it was to have a conversation without raising your voice. That was definitely a diesel ferry. The recent tests of the B12 in Stockholm confirmed that the cabin noise levels of just 64 decibels, lower than modern trains, aircraft, or ferries, making it the quietest high-speed vessel in operation. Tourists and commuters in Norway will enjoy better customer service, more frequent departures, free from seasickness, silent without the negative impacts of wake and emissions in the unique Norwegian fjords. Says Alexander Seifert, Candela's European director. We're thrilled to partner with Boral, whose ambition and leadership are helping to drive electrification and maritime transport. This initiative shows how forward-thinking operators can accelerate the shift to zero-emission travel at sea while reducing costs. And they've got a video we can look at and pictures. Let's look at the picture. Let's not. Let's. Their download site was clunky. So as you get to a certain speed, you take the whole vehicle out of the water and leave just a minimal surface for your propulsion and control surfaces, and you have a drastic reduction in drag, which results in fuel savings. All right, so let's see if I can't get the video going and see what it looks like. We got the video going. It's soundless, which is fine. So there it is. It looks like it's. Oh, it's just an adjustment. I was going to say, it looks like it's slowing down to land. Neat. Oh. All right, so we can close the press release there. And the photos. This next one, we're just going to touch on. We're not actually going to really read it. We've got from Fast Company, states are falling short on their clean energy goals due to a data center boom. And Nevada is one of the fastest growing data center markets. And Nevada's largest utility says it will need 3 times the electricity required to power Las Vegas just to handle proposed data centers. And it probably can't do that without fossil fuels. That's a lie. They probably don't want to do it without fossil fuels, but they don't need fossil fuels to do this. They want them. That means utility could miss Nevada's clean energy targets, requiring 50% renewable by 2030. I can't remember a time in history in the industry where we've seen as much interest in adding load, which is primarily driven by data centers. NV Energy, which provides 90% to the state. Excuse me. One of the many utilities across the country grappling with how to meet exploding electrical demand for data centers to power artificial intelligence without sacrificing long-term plans to move away from fossil fuels. So the only ones I really give any excuse to are the ones where they want to just keep an existing plant online. These ones say they have to add fossil. No, they don't have to add fossil. North Carolina is also seeing a surge of data centers. The utility is revisiting long-term plans to delay the retirement of coal plants and beautiful clean coal. Yeah, right. It's revisiting its long-term plans to delay the retirement of coal plants and to build more methane plants. Legislatures have removed an interim goal for utilities to cut carbon emissions, spurring concern for environmentalists that the state might miss its goal of zero carbon by 2050. There's no reason to miss a goal that far out. That's shameful. Next Energy, which serve commercial electricity over a dozen states, completely dropped its goal to reach zero emissions by 2045 due to demand for all forms of power generation, the company said in a recent business filing. The current administration has encouraged the states to use coal to meet the demands. I wonder why. What does he get from that? Demands from demands for manufacturing and data centers. Tech companies are also slowing down their own climate goals to meet the consumer demands for AI. It's very alarming and the least single largest natural resource issue of our the largest single largest natural resource issue of our time. This is Olivia Tanager, director of Sierra Club's Tiobe chapter covering Nevada. Getting to why I even got this far into it is Nevada is one of the fastest growing data center markets. Already a dozen more on the way. Now lawmakers are eyeing regulations. Some data centers say they want to be part of the solution. The industry was responsible for half of all corporate clean energy procurement in 2024. Yeah, because they don't want to spend on the fossil. They will spend on nuke, but they don't have to. Renewable energy's contribution to the grid is not growing fast enough. Nationally, orders for gas turbines are backlogged, and processing renewable energy projects takes time. So basically, what they're saying is we're being cheap, and we're being fast, so we want to just put more gas and more coal back on there. The thing is, as we discussed on previous episodes, is that you can't legally convert most coal plants to methane or nuclear because they're too radioactive. Too radioactive to be a nuclear plant for burning coal. So anyway, proves the lie. One Vegas data center built its own solar fields. South of the Las Vegas Strip, the Switch data center stretches for nearly a square mile, is the largest data center in southern Nevada, and runs entirely on renewable energy, according to Jeff Hoffman, chief strategy officer. Unlike other data centers, Switch is licensed to build its own sources of renewable energy at the scale of a utility. It has built a 1 gigawatt solar energy and is in the process of building more solar fields. He said the company uses only uses NV Energy's grid for the delivery of electricity and its sources of its own power from third-party suppliers. So, if they can do it, and they're the biggest one, there's no excuse for these other not as big ones to not be able to procure their own solar. With Nevada's data center incentives, data centers should be required to include clean energy in their construction plans, either on or off site. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be on your site. Good point, Lee. You can put it somewhere else. Say you're downtown. For some reason, you're wasting downtown real estate on a data center. Put it in some field somewhere. I would say agrovoltaics, but I don't know how much crop production goes on in Nevada, of all places. But at the same time, maybe some shade will make it so that you can actually grow something in Nevada, assuming that it's something that's water efficient, because not only do you have a lot of sun, you also have a lack of water. Inside the massive buildings, hundreds of servers hum within gigantic soundproof and waterproof chambers. They contain vital information for Switch's clients, including major banks, streaming services, online shopping websites, casinos, and state and local governments. During the summer heat, when more energy is required to keep the equipment cool, Switch can remove itself from the grid and become self-sufficient. Hoffman said the data center is designed to require minimal air conditioning during the rest of the year. All it takes is actually caring about doing it, and you can do it. And as we tell you time and again, week after week, the numbers are there to make it affordable. So, you know, it may have some upfront cost, but you're already making a capital investment. You get to write that off. And then you're making your own electricity and having to do less maintenance. I mean, look at the all those jet turbines that XAI used in was it Tennessee, Memphis, or Mississippi, wherever they are. If they had just put in a bunch, well, they did put in a bunch of megapacks because the grid was so fluctuating that it was messing up the training. But if you'd fed your megapacks with Tesla Solar or anybody's solar for that matter, some wind turbines, you wouldn't be having a bunch of people complaining about poisoning their air and lighting their tap water on fire. And like I said, I'm done with that article. I just wanted to bring that part up. Like, it can be done. You don't need to do it that way. If you're looking for a discount on the Hyundai Ioniq 5, it's heating up again and now has an 87.50 discount. So Anders has had good luck with his EV6, which is the sister product of this. So I'll take that as an endorsement that if you're in the market, that it'll probably do you well. Lots of other folks in my sphere have purchased an Ioniq 5 or EV6 and had good luck. Some have had the IMMU issue, but they will take care of you. Just don't dally if you do a lot of driving. You're about to drive it out of warranty. Is 4K do it signing, then why not list what the actual monthly cost would be? The SE range would essentially be $425 a month. Marketing games, and sometimes the banks want to see a little skin in the game. That's all it is. So there's a sale right there. All right, so I said I'd do it from the motorcycle companies or motorcycle publications. Here we are. So the Royal Enfield's Flying Flea, which is based off of the airdropped motorcycles of World War II. The name is anyway. Obviously, they weren't electric. Royal Enfield's Flying Flea EV is coming, and the Indian launch pricing is kind of astonishing. Even more so if you go with the available battery subscription option. How will riders react? So I'm curious if the battery subscription is on the Gogoro, or if it's on the Japanese situation, or if it's, please don't tell me it's the third option, because the third option is not needed right now. April 10th. The first ever dedicated Royal Enfield Flying Flea showroom will begin taking pre-orders for the brand's first ever EV motorbike, the Flying Flea Charlie 6. The store is located in Yangar, in Mangaluru, and Karnataka, India. I am sorry about screwing up all these names today, and almost all of them have been Indian. Interesting. While it's the first EV store location, it's a pretty safe bet that it won't be the last, correct? Unless they royally screw up the product. Especially not now that pricing information is officially available. If you're in India and you have the chance to put down money to purchase one of these bikes for your very own, they'll set you back 2.79 lakh rupees ex showroom to own one outright. For those unfamiliar, a lakh is 100,000, so that's 279,000 rupees. Okay. Now I'm curious. Oops, I moved the mouse too much. 279,000 rupees. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Assuming that it's assuming what I'm assuming, that those are Indian rupees, that is 2,998 and 45 cents US dollars. So under $3,000, just barely. And I don't know if they include tax in their advertisement or not. So if that includes tax, that's less than $3,000 out the door for a decent motorcycle. I guess I could have just done this, huh? A direct comparison to US dollars at the time of the writing. Remember, currency conversions fluctuate all the time. Puts that introductory price around 30-20 US dollars. The Royal Enfield has not announced pricing for the Flying Flea C6 in any markets outside of India just yet. They'll almost certainly be different once it does. Yeah, different regulations, different incentives, everything. The pricing information is related only to the initial pricing and in India. It's not applicable elsewhere. That will, of course, lead to both contemplation and speculation about how it'll be priced overseas. Of course, that's how it works. So $3,000 for a motorcycle, they call it, not moped, motorcycle. We'll see if that definition holds up when we get the specs. Wait, there's more. The company will begin offering an additional option where you subscribe to the battery as a service. Okay, so it's not battery swap like we saw with Gogoro and the Japanese thing. This is like the Neo, where you're renting the battery. You don't own it, but you own the bike. Full details on the terms of the agreement you'd sign haven't been made public yet, but with this program, it knocks the price down to 1.99 lakh rupees instead or 21.54. That's significant savings. Keep in mind, it's not clear what the subscription price for the battery as a service is, so that would presumably be an additional ongoing cost to consider. But at the same time, though, if your battery is a lease, then the idea is when it's not sufficient, you could get it replaced. Or if there's just really bad batteries, you can just get out of it and they can come get it back, or you can take it to them. What happens when the battery actually goes too flat to reliably, as I was just talking about, so reliably charge anymore? This might be a pretty compelling option if you're thinking about potential long-term ownership issues. There we go. So you got the little parachute. It's electric. Oh, I see. There's a parachute over India. It makes sense now. So, is there a video of them just dropping the motorcycle down, World War II style? That would be cool. 10th of April. I don't see it. It's not like a play button or anything. 3 comments. Flying C6 is expected to roll into customer hands at the end of May. Excited to see this guy. Wow, if it's anywhere near that when it comes to the US, it'll sell like crazy. Those are e-bike prices for something. Yeah, exactly. What did I say that the also was? I'd expect dealer prep, shipping, tariffs, price of US to be closer to 5K. Still, that's not bad for a motorcycle. Keep in mind that the RE Hunter 350 sells for about $1,500 in India, but it's over 5,000 put to the door in the US. I'd say this is more like a $6,000 motorcycle here. Only if they build it in India and ship it here, they could change that even more. Thanks, Casey, for today's chat. Thanks, Lee. Glad having you. So that is the Flying Flea. Let's see. Scout. From Scout to Kia, here's every extended range EV coming to the US soon. And you guys know I think that these, if you're not in a multifamily home, I mean, if it works for you, great. But if you're not in a multifamily home where charging is hard to get for no good reason, then on the manufacturers, I feel that these are generally just phoning it in. Now, with the Scout and the Ram, okay, if they're made for towing and hauling and going cross country, then yeah, that makes some sense. I like that the charge port is in the front right, so you can nose into a supercharger. As Americans come to grip with the reality of the car market, the 7,500 federal tax credit is a distant dream, and new type of electrified vehicles preparing to take the country by storm. E-revs promise all the benefit of regular EVs without the range anxiety or charging concerns. Yeah, now you get 2 range anxieties and 2 maintenance concerns. This thanks to a combustion engine that acts solely as a generator for the electric powertrain. You also almost always lose the frunk because of it too. You got to get emissions testing, blah, blah, blah. There is one good thing in this political climate about having a dyno burner is that it generally short circuits their efforts to sabotage EVs because you've also got what they want to see in there. Long lines of fast chargers, no problem. If there's no destination chargers, hotel, no problem. Those aren't serious issues. Fill the tank at the local friendly gas station and let the generator, which can't drive the wheels directly, feed the battery. It's also the only way that hydrogen could ever succeed, but they're not even pretending they're going to do that $36 a gallon equivalent boondoggle. Charge like a regular EV. That's the promise. EREVs that existed before in the US, think the first gen BMW i3, Fisker Karma, or Karma Rivero, or less so the Volt with a V, Victor, because it had tiny range. Let's see. Now let's look at all the EREVs that go on sale in 26 and beyond. The Ram 1500, if it ever makes it. Scout Motors, talked about that. I think it's been delayed again. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer 26. So this one, if the Ram makes it easier because just put a SUV back on the truck. Hyundai SUV, just SUV. Interesting. Genesis SUV 27. That makes sense though. That's also going to be a Kia SUV then if this keeps up. Yep, Kia Telluride pickup truck 29 to 30. F-150 Lightning E-Rev, timing unknown. Honorable mentions: the Nissan Rogue e-Power 26, as we saw with the Leaf and the Xterra, if it makes it. Volvo's next-gen plug-in hybrids, timing unknown. X5 and X7, unconfirmed. The Audi SUV, unconfirmed. The Lotus Electra PHEV. And there you go. E-revs offer all the benefits of an EV. Not quite. Not quite. The simplicity of an EV's propulsion system is significant, whereas an E-rev has to carry around and maintain two systems and increases the risk of a fire. Hey, John of Toyota fan fame. That's not how the better ones are designed. Some components may normally found in ICE are eliminated. The remaining tend to not get stressed as much due to the integration, so maintenance is significantly reduced. Yeah, reduced compared to a gas car, but still way more maintenance than EV is expected to have. It's also worth noting that the owners of EREVs will still need to do oil changes, and they're going to deal with the fact the gas engine will periodically need to run simply as part of the vehicle's self-maintenance and to keep the fuel from going bad. Those things will fast charge, but the fast charging performance is dismal to the point of useless for road trips because they want you to just burn gas. Why would they put any effort into the fast charge section of the vehicle when they can save money by telling you just burn gas? You're on the road, go burn gas. Given a choice of taking a half hour to add 100 miles of range at a fast charger or 5 minutes to add 400 miles at a gas station, no one's going to choose the fast charger. Not nobody with $9 gallon gas, but they're not built for $9 gallon gas. They're built for $1.50. Then there's a matter of price. Because vehicles already have a relatively large battery, the battery in the Ram 1500 is larger than the batteries in most non-truck EVs, and a gas engine are not going to be cheap. Correct. Chevy Volt fits this story very importantly. 36 range on G1 and 55 on G2. Amazing technology, way ahead of its time. Catch was design trade-offs made it expensive and inefficient in both EV and HEV modes. Yeah, that's why I call it Fat Prius. Nonetheless, the Volt did help solidify the category. Kudos. Yeah, it was easier to deal with than the BMW for sure. I have about 120 on my Volts, still 35 to 40 all electric range and 40 on the highway. It doesn't see the engine used, but I've taken on 1,000-mile trips and it's convenient to do so. Replace the coolant sensor and CV joint car stuff. Otherwise, it's been perfect. I don't know why GM doesn't start making this full-tech powertrain again with a larger modern battery layout and maybe a lightweight Turbo 3 offered in most of their vehicles, because I feel confident buyers would grab them up. Yeah, I mean, as training wheels, E-revs are great for the market. Give me a Lightning EV truck with 200 battery range and the gas extender, and I guarantee I'll only use that engine for trips. There you go. All right, Lee, we'll catch you next time. Speaking of Mercedes, we talked about their wheels falling off. This finally has better EV numbers, but one market ruined the quarter. The CLA and GLC are building momentum, but China remains a serious problem for Mercedes global totals. Well, I mean, you got to have a cost-sensitive and luxury-sensitive model for China. Not in the same vehicle, but I guess if you could do it in the same vehicle, that could save you money. So these EV fast chargers are completely off-grid and free. So yeah, if you can run a data center off-grid, you can run a charging station off-grid. Those Nevada folks are off their rockers when they say they need gas and coal. Thanks to a huge solar array and a 3.4 megawatt hour battery, this California EV charging station doesn't need a grid connection. California startup has installed DC fast charger station that's entirely powered by the sun. Located on I-15, the station has 4 CCS1 ports starting at 360 kilowatts, sharing 360 kilowatts, a massive 3.6 kilowatt hour battery pack. Megawatt hour battery pack, sorry. Keeps the lights on around the clock. Startup's first off-grid EV charging station is also free, at least for now. Called Power Station Charging. It's recently turned on the lights at an EV fast charging station that's completely powered by the sun. Best of all, it's free. Station located at Razor Road, exit off of I-15 in Baker, California, doesn't have a grid connection. Instead, no fewer than 1080 solar panels that feed up to 640 kilowatts to a massive 3.4 megawatt hour battery pack that enables the station to function around the clock, even when there's no sunshine. YouTuber Scott Allison has had a chance to recharge his Kia EV9 there and published a video documenting the experience. All right, I'll open that up for me to watch later. Currently, the power station's first location has 4 CCS1 ports, sharing a 360 kilowatt output, but the company said it will add 6 NACS ports later this summer. Okay, good, because nobody is shipping cars with CCS1 anymore. Everybody's shipping with NACS. An 8,000 square foot underground bunker with a lounge and bathrooms also is in the works. That's kind of cool. The shared output between the shared power output is split between all the EVs that are charging at once. If just one car is plugged in, it'll benefit from the full output. If 2 or more EVs are charging at the same time, each will get a portion. Startup says there's no app or membership needed to charge here, and the tapping up is completely free until May 31st of 26. Well, I'm not going to drive over to California before May, but it would make a fun video. After the cutoff date, prices will vary between 30 cents a kilowatt hour and 45 cents a kilowatt hour, depending on demand and the sun's brightness. Interesting. I always like just to help keep them have some room in the battery to put the sunlight. That's pretty cool. Power Station claims on their website that 3 more solar power DC fast chargers are in the works. A second location on I-15 is due this year and near Barstow, with 2 more scheduled to become operational on 2027 on the I-10 and I-8. I could totally do that. I've got the adapter. Excuse me. Part of a growing trend of renewable fed and battery backed charging stations. Excuse me. Tesla's biggest supercharger opened late last year in Los Hills, California. Relies entirely on solar power and multiple battery packs. Excuse me, to energize up to 164 EVs at once. The station has 11 megawatts of solar panels, which double as a canopy that shades the parking spots, coupled with 10 megapack batteries totaling 39 megawatt hours of energy storage. So even their battery stations are bigger than everybody else's stuff. Okay, had to check on the X spaces, make sure they didn't slide off again. Find electric co-op office and you'll find free chargers. In Texas, I charged at one of them twice in the weekend and enjoyed free coffee inside while I waited for the charge to complete. Yeah, for now, but as a co-op, they're gonna, if that becomes common, they'll have to start charging for it. This is concept of the future of EV charging. Add wind turbines for redundancy. No sun usually means windy conditions, and you don't really need a grid connection, right? And if you, like the Tesla station, are over paneled, then you can sell power back to the grid and stabilize it. This is going to work the very best in the Sun Belt, and the concept will require some refinement to work outside of it. They'll be fine. Not impossible, for instance, that even with wind turbines, you might need to see propane backup generators for some locations. No. Maybe on site if you don't have any connection, yeah, but that's not. In those locations, they'll have off-site power as well, or just a huge tract of land. On a road trip to Cali, we charged here on our way back to Utah. I'll post my review of it on Maps. Okay. Next. Share the tab instead. Close that one. Car buyers don't like subscriptions. I've been talking about this for weeks now. Car buyers don't like subscriptions. Car companies are pushing them anyway for driver assistance tech. Automakers are chasing software revenue, but the state of tech has consumers second guessing its value. I'd say that at the moment, the only one that really has a chance is Tesla FSD unsupervised or supervised, and maybe Rivian. And then if the price is right, you've got the Blue Cruise and Super Cruise in their current state, but price has to be just right, because especially now, the nickel and diming is just through the roof. Not just from your car company, but just everywhere in the world right now. This is not the economy to be own nothing. More and more automakers are locking potential automation behind paywalls. Consumers, meanwhile, are feeling burnt out on subscriptions, especially for something so stupid as remote start. Or heated seats, which we were able to browbeat them out of. Brands that are betting big that the future is subscription-based, even if drivers today are feeling a bit oversubscribed. There will be a backlash. My wife and I were at the used media store the other day on the other side of town, and We picked up some movies and TV shows, and I mentioned how we use them. And, we put them on our media server, and then nobody can take them from us. But also, I don't have to worry about the munchkins scratching the discs. And they said, yeah, that's what everybody's saying to me. Whether they put them on a media server or just constantly cycle through their discs, they like the stability and the lack of just always in your pocket. So I wonder if that means that Columbia House and the other disc by mail people might come back. If they ever went anywhere, if they might just see a resurgence. Manufacturers doubling down on the idea that recurring revenue spells out value after the car leaves the factory, rather than relying on one-time sale of a car parts or to repair them later down the road. And that was the other part of it right there. Is if your car doesn't need constant repairs, if your subscriptions are cheap enough, then the customer's total out of pocket will be lower still, and they might appreciate that. We'll see. Tesla's been on the forefront of this market for a while. Its full self-driving subscription is $99 per month. Now, we'll see what the future brings. Into what advanced driver assistance features can bring the consumer. In fact, FSD and originally less capable sibling Autopilot have helped build Tesla into the household brand that it is today. Among other things. But Tesla isn't the only brand in this game. Rivian recently launched a 49. Yeah, but we haven't had a chance to really experience that. We'll see how that one holds up. But I do like their prices lower than everybody else's. Rivian's $49.99 a month subscription. GM Super Cruise is between $20 and $40 a month after the free trial period, and Blue Cruise is $49.99. Those are not as capable as Tesla and Rivian, though. So it's kind of important they charge less. But I'm glad to see that Rivian locked theirs in at the higher of those two prices and not 99. Lucid has one coming too, so they say. It told investors last month that buyers would eventually be able to purchase a $69 a month subscription for its partially automated driving features, which could reach $199 depending on the capabilities. Autonomy subscriptions are the single biggest software monetization opportunity, one slide said during a Lucid March investor presentation. And I get it for like a robotaxi, but people will eventually get fed up with this nickel and dime crap. I do wonder if we might see just like a something like a comma AI, but making sure that one is not a subscription too, where people can just co-opt the sensors that are already on the car and then not be on the monthly VIG. As vehicles become more software-based, automakers are taking features that were once tied to hardware and instead locking them behind a software paywall. Kathleen Reisig, director of user experience at JD Power, told Automotive News, drivers are a bit peeved that it's costing even more money, let alone with a subscription, to get the full capabilities of their car after already buying it outright. There we go. I was having to turn into the chair to get the screen back in front of the camera. She's stretched out down here. Subscription services in general are not liked in the vehicle, said Reisig. People feel like we've already spent a lot of money and we're being nickels and dimes. Yes. I'm going to keep beating that drum. She added that because of the constraints of these systems, people generally don't see the value in buying hands-free driving features, whether through a one-time payment or a subscription. Yeah, that was Tesla's problem. They didn't even want to buy it one time. And then Elon's bonus was to make them subscription. BMW, for example, caught heat when it put heated seats behind a subscription in some non-US markets. Mercedes-Benz was also dragged a bit after it blocked performance features behind a paywall. Lincoln took that lesson to heart and avoided subscriptions entirely with the Nautilus. Bigger issue, the value prop isn't even there. When buying a Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, or pretty much everything else on the road, you're still buying a level 2 assistance system, which means that you are ultimately responsible for driving the car, even if it feels like the vehicle is braking, accelerating, and steering for you. Yeah, but once you've experienced it, you can see that there is utility there, assuming that it's any good. Now, if it sucks, like what most people can get for free, then yeah, nobody's going to pay for that. But just because they rate the same doesn't mean they are the same. Once you get a chance to experience it, you say this is worth some money. But if you're like me, you'll want to find a way to pay once and not every month. Some consumers are willing to pay for the convenience, though. GM logged $235 million in revenue from Super Cruise subscribers in 25 and said that 620,000 customers by the end of the year. The company expects to grow to 400 million in 26. Past level 2 to higher levels of automated capability, you could unlock far greater opportunity, and that people might be willing to pay a little bit more for. And monthly. And that's what the industry is working towards. Ford and GM both plan to add eyes off driving in the near future. I don't know how. They canceled Ultra Cruise and they canceled whatever Blue Cruise Next was. Lucid says level 4 driving, full blown point to point autonomy is coming in its cars by 29. L4 is our North Star, get there as fast as possible, and in the end, be a profitable company. Yeah, we'll see. Jeff Goldman says Hyundai doesn't currently charge for their HDA half system. It's competent. You still need to pay attention. In addition, Hyundai Kia gives you the greatest menu of how you want to drive your car. Everything from regen, 0-1 pedal driving, and a series of auto regen levels from 1 to 3. You choose smart cruise control with and without lane keeping on local trips. It may have too many subscriptions. I already have too many subscriptions that are used at various levels, and the utility to us, my wife and I, varies. Only a couple that are must-have, and even those have a limit on what we'll pay for them. Since I intend to remain on Hyundai orbit for the near future, ICCU problems notwithstanding, I have no intention of paying for level 2 driving, which for now is more than enough. For now, any higher ADAS level 2 eyes off, hands off, or level 3 or 4 sounds like some of the earlier luxuries of the past, power mirrors and windows, standard AC that are now considered standard. That is included in the cost of the car. Will I ever pay up? Probably not, as long as level 2 ADAS meets my needs. I'm reducing fatigue on longer distance highway trips. Do you really need level 3 or 4 for local driving? Less than 30 minutes? Right now, the emphatic answer is no. Yeah, so kind of like Jeff, like it would be nice to have more, but do we need more? Who knows? And obviously, as you become more mobility restricted, as you age, or if you have a disability crop up, then it becomes more of a sell. Or if you become so busy that you need to work while riding on the highway. If they make auto driving subscription based, that's fine with me. I'll never add it, says Rocket. Lenovo Tablet says, there are more than enough companies dipping into my bank account every month already. Thanks. And the problems trying to cancel XM radio are certainly put me off ever paying for vehicle related subscription again. I'll be driving myself for as long as humanly possible. Yeah. Don't call it Tesla. China's Windrose delivers first EV trucks in the US. I think we touched on this as they were getting here, and well, now they're really here. The global E700 truck can use 2 CCS chargers at once to top up its 705 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate battery. And as we touched on for a moment in the past, you can eventually soon get them with the MCS3. They have shown that they were testing that instead of the dual CCS. 1,400 horsepower Tesla Semi lookalike was handed over to Texas logistics firm Alogic and charging partner GreenSpace eMobility earlier this month. Windrose advertises a 416-mile range fully loaded with a trailer and full battery. It's not bad. And so phosphate versus NMC, their battery might actually last longer than the other one. It's possible. A Chinese electric startup Windrose. I mean, it does. You can see why they suit each other. It's interesting that they went looking more like each other than less like each other after that. The first US-bound Windrose Global E700 tractor was handed over to Texas logistics firm. According to the battery-powered heavy truck, will haul cargo on the I-35 bi-national corridor connecting Mexico and Texas. Interesting. Windrose claims that the truck is fully certified across Asia, Europe, North America, and South America, and expects approval in Oceania in the second half of this year. I mean, if you're already approved all those other places, it's got to be trivial to get it approved in Oslo. I'm at the wrong angle for this microphone at all. Specs-wise, Windrose first commercially available model in the US can hold its own against the best of them. It's powered by a massive 705 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery, which runs at 800 volts, and the battery feeds a 1400 horsepower rear electric motor and enables 416-mile estimated driving range with a full load. Charging can be done via MCS connector. See, there we go, MCS. Don't need the dual CCS. In which case it can accept up to 870 kilowatts or 2 CCS connectors at once. Okay, so I guess 2 CCS might be standard and MCS is the option. And it looks like they're already done with the testing, so there it is. Startup plans to top up from 20% to 80% takes 38 minutes. In the States, Windrose Global E700 is listed at $300,000, but the company claims the truck is eligible for $120,000 subsidy from the state of California. Interesting. By comparison, Tesla Semi's 500-mile version can be charged at 1.2 megawatts through a single connector, which is MCS3, which is reportedly priced between $290,000, according to Electrek. Dozens of semis are already on America's roads, with more on the way as Tesla ramps up manufacturing. Meanwhile, Windrose claims mass deliveries will begin in the third quarter. Oh, we'll see how this lays up, because that's when Tesla Semi is expected to really open the floodgates too. The Chinese will eat our lunch. Europe's EV trucking industry is scared as hell. Tesla opened its first semi-truck megacharger, and that's not a Tesla factory. We talked about that one. Mercedes-Benz is putting the hydrogen electric semi-truck into production. Yeah, right. Aurora's driverless trucks can now run longer than humans. This isn't Aurora, is it? A Logic. No, a Logic. Okay. This is what happens when judges nix White House tariffs. Unfair trade in favor of the Chinese government. We gave Europe and Asia all these tariffs after World War II so they could rebuild their nations. But it's long past time. It's unfair trade. I don't know. No. I don't think it does what you think it is. Yeah, people still fill their homes with a ton of Chinese-made products from Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, etc. You didn't do any research, did you? Subsidies were found to be unlawful. That's your own laws, not made up by the courts, made by your government. Really, I don't even think you need tariffs to keep China out. You can just do what the U.S. and Canada are/were doing, and there you go. Ensuring big oil keeps its claws into you. Dealership selling oil filters. This means that Tesla is the first drawback with this rip-off truck design. I think that would be a step too far. CCS1 charging out of the road might be a problem too. The truck might appeal to the same cheap companies who currently suffer with international brand diesel trucks. Like those LFP batteries, but it might be more of a challenge in winter for drivers less knowledgeable. You realize they already sued Tesla for the way it looks, and they said in the article MCS. So Tesla lawyers are already all over this, but in the end, what matters is that if any idiots out there who will buy this, it's going to depend on the pricing, because fleets are going to buy these early semi-trucks. If so, publish what companies so consumer reports, consumers decide whether to continue purchasing. Wow, you guys are aggressive there. And that wasn't even the Tesla. That wasn't even the Tesla site. That was just Inside EVs. Megawatt chargers have landed in the US, but there's a problem. Alpitronic's new chargers can deliver 1,000 kilowatts to a single port, but are the automakers ready? I mean, so you got Alpitronics, you've got Tesla. Who else is doing megawatt charging? Currently being tested at the company's North Carolina headquarters. Megawatt chargers are faster than existing stations, with some chargers charging batteries between 10 to 80% in 7 minutes or less. Wow. Italian hardware provider Alpitronic is testing its new HYC 1000 megawatt chargers at its North American headquarters in Charlotte. The company confirmed today that the chargers can deliver 1,000 kilowatts, aka 1 megawatt of power, to a single port for semi-trucks and 600 for passenger EVs. 600 kilowatts. That is way beyond the fastest EV charging in the US currently can accept. So what is your problem? Out of spec channel, Alpitronics president Mike Ducliffe explained exactly how the chargers work. Was different from the YouTube is doing me dirty. That's something I would have watched. They didn't even show it to me. Was different from the other charging networks and how EV drivers benefit from the tech. Stars is one of the fastest growing charging hardware providers. Yes, they are. Inc. deals with several providers. Takes things further. 2 plugs, both of which can simultaneously deliver 600 amps and 1000 volts, which translates into 600 kilowatts of power. So it's really a 1.2 megawatt station, just like the Tesla. But it can do 1000 to 1 port or 600 to 2. Interesting. Like Tesla V4 superchargers in the Gravity Charging Center in New York, top out at 500. Well, the Tesla supercharger doesn't top out at 500. The NACS handled version will only get 500 per port, but the MCS handled version will do 1.2 megawatts to the 1 port. US can accept a lot of that power at the moment. Porsche Cayenne, ZW iX3, Lucid Gravity will top out at 400 kilowatts. What is this? Looks like an Audi. Or is it a render? Furthermore, dispenser's distributed power delivery is fascinating. Main cabinet consists of 825 kilowatt silicon carbide power modules, capable of powering 8 individual charging towers. Each of these 125 kilowatt modules in the cabinet is further subdivided to 62.5 kilowatts for more precise distribution of power depending on demand at each stall. That's kind of cool. Oh, okay, this is advanced. I was about to say, oh no, that's a semi-truck. Although you don't necessarily want the semi-truck to be interspersed with the cars. Rocket 113 appears to ask a common question without providing needed information. What is your EV is the most basic one. I need to start looking at L3 chargers for my longer trips. Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, rocket round. Lightning round. Tesla is doing a final signature series run of Model S and X Plaid. It starts at $159,420. Why not make that a 6.9 Musco? Tesla producing a final limited edition signature series run of Plaid S and X, 350 vehicles total, as a farewell to the flagship programs before they shut down for good. There's my cynicism right there that they would make it a cash grab. The Model X signature starts at $159,420. Invite only program, which is being offered exclusively to email to Tesla owners. Exclusive garnet red paint colors, signature red, and gold accents throughout the vehicle. Like gold. Ugh. Let's see if I was invited. Probably not. This cheapo guy still has a Generation 1. Yeah, the only thing I got from them lately is regulatory filings for their stocks. All right, let's see. Invite only program, which is being offered exclusively via email. Ryan McAfee showed a senior editor at IGN, hosts the Ride Lightning podcast, shared details on X today, listing comprehensive spec sheet for the limited edition vehicles. The Tesla Austin Club, which also partnered with Tesla, posted about the signature series, which appears to be a promotional image. Here's the breakdown. 100 signature Model X, 6-seat configuration only. Invite only. If you didn't get the invite, you can't buy one. They must know I don't have the money. The vehicle comes in exclusive garnet red paint with matching door handles on S. I'm not going to miss the S door handles. Not available on any current Tesla production vehicle. Gold Tesla T badges on the front. Gold plaid badge on the rear, and a signature badge on the rear complete the exterior look. The gold brakes is interesting. Inside, the vehicles get a white interior with Alcantara and badging, gold plaid seat badges with gold piping, signature marked door sills, signature dash badging with a unique numbering plate, i.e. 1 of 250 or 1 of 100, gold plaid puddle lights and interior lighting sequence round out the cabin. The Model S gets carbon ceramic brakes. Oh, that's not bad for the price, because normally they charge significantly extra for that kit. While the Model X retains the standard red plaid. Seriously? You guys really didn't want to make the X, did you? Retains the standard red plaid caliper badges. Both vehicles come with the yoke steering wheel, 21-inch wheels, and the modern S 22-inch wheels. And on the Model X, the signature edition key fob, black skull caps, possibly signature branding on the Lux and the Lux package. So it's not a terrible pack. The pricing is high. Multiple sources confirm that the X Signature Series is priced at $159,420, roughly a $30,000 premium over the current Model X Plaid inventory price of $129,000, which already includes the $15,000 hike added earlier this month as inventory dwindled, plus also the Lux package. Model S Signature pricing hasn't been confirmed yet, but at current S Plaid inventory sits at $129,420, expected to land a similar range around $155,000 on the same pricing structure. Tesla's also planning a celebration event in May, taking place as a sunset fitting send-off for vehicles that first launched in 2012 and 15, respectively. End of an era. Reported earlier this month that the Model S and X production is over, with about 600 units remaining in global inventory. Roughly 295 S and 301 Model X, almost all are in the US, which makes sense. Musk announced at the end of the programs during Q4's 25 earnings call in January, calling it an honorable discharge. The Fremont factory line that built these vehicles being converted to manufacture Optimus. Top comment by Blake is, I'm still waiting patiently for my Model S Plaid Plus. Yes. So is our friend EV Smoke. The 4680 battery chemistry breakthrough promised on Battery Day, September 20, should be due in about 3 months, maybe 6 months, definitely. The signature name carries historical weight. When the Model S first launched in 2012, the first 1,000 units were sold as signature editions that required $40,000 deposit and cost nearly $100,000 each. Those original, is that it? I want to say they were more than that. The original signature owners were Tesla's earliest believers, and the signature run is clearly an attempt to bookend that legacy. It's a nice little send-off for two vehicles that genuinely changed the auto industry. The garnet red paint, gold accents, and numbered dash plates make for a proper collector's edition, and the sunset celebration is a classy touch. If you're going to kill a 14-year-old program, this is a better way to do it than just quietly running out of inventory. I kind of thought that was how they were going to do it. But the pricing makes this a hard sell. At $159,420 for X and likely $155,000 plus for Model S, the Tesla is asking for a massive premium on vehicles the company chose not to meaningfully update in their final years. And if you remember how they treat legacy vehicles, you're buying a legacy at a premium. As I wrote Elon Musk yesterday, I'm curious what he wrote him yesterday, that was an era that didn't have to end. Tesla could have introduced the latest battery cell tech for faster charging and more range. It could have brought steer-by-wire and rear-wheel steering, bidirectional charging to the S and X, and stayed competitive with other luxury SUVs. Yes, or they could make them on the Cybertruck platform and make the most of that line. Instead, Tesla let these vehicles stagnate while competitors caught up, and now it's asking for $160,000 for a special paint job and some gold badges on fundamentally the same car that's been largely unchanged since the 2021 refresh. Yeah, largely. For hardcore Tesla collectors who want numbered piece of history, the Signature Series will sell out fast. But for anyone evaluating this as a luxury EV purchase in 26, there are better options at this price point, and ultimately that's Tesla's own doing. Two people are typing. Tesla and Elon are hardly recognizable these days. I fondly remember the early Tesla years, wonderful conversations with early adopters while supercharging, camping out overnight to reserve a Model 3, and we just got up really early ourselves to reserve a Model 3, and genuine product updates inspired the auto industry. Sad to think what the Model S and X could have been with proper updates. The only problem is what the signature is. Each vehicle is hand signed with "Been a great run, Adolf." They are obsolete, but better to create new platforms based on the latest technology and design than flog a dead horse that can't really be upgraded properly due to aging core components. Model Y introduced revolutionary manufacturing techniques, as did Cybertruck. Any future luxury Tesla will use that tech and newer. Keeping the S and X would be like Apple keeping the PowerBooks or Intel Macs in production, and the Roadster cometh rejoice. See, though, other automakers, they keep a line and a general shape and then update it meaningfully, even if they have to completely clean sheet the vehicle. Tesla could have done that, or built it on the Cybertruck platform. I don't know that a fat Model Y or extra scale Model 3 would do the trick, because fat Model Y won't be able to tow correctly. Still waiting patiently for the Plaid Plus. Yeah, we talked about that guy. At 131 on Battery Day demo video, we think in about 3 years we'll make the 25K next gen vehicle and it'll be fully autonomous. One more broken Musk autonomous promise. All you needed to know, Battery Day was a sham as a calculator. Well, it was a recruiting event, I thought. AI Day 2019 was officially when Tesla jumped the shark, and Battery Day simply confirmed the negative slope. We think it's now a hard promise. After a while, putting disclaimers in front of statements you have no intention of following through on no longer cuts it. You'll eventually get it, but it won't be a Tesla, and it'll come from China. It's a possibility. They really couldn't add 10K to it to make it 169, 420. Are they saving that for the final Cybertruck builds coming within 2 years? I'm certainly not in the market for such a car, but I'm spending more than I would like to go electric for the Rivian R1T to replace my old Toyota. That being said, I believe the Tesla Signature EVs will be good collector's cars because they were groundbreaking EVs for the US, regardless of what you think of Musk, which probably aligns with what I think of him, which isn't good, says John Mod 3. I must say that I still like the products and the company, but yeah, the spokesperson has required more disclaimers than I like to give when talking about stuff. I think did the analysis for this a while back, and nothing short of only 36 in existence Ferrari 250 GTO has a chance of being the market investment returns, and that's only if you could convince Enzo Ferrari to sell one to you back in the 50s, not as a second or third owners in the 80s. The S certainly won't. Yeah, no, this while a collector's edition is probably going to be, if you try to trade one in later, it's probably going to net you nothing over a non-signature. Unless the FSD transfers, then it might net you a little bit more. Place cashing a Fidelity mutual fund over 10% interest a year, better return by mile. Yeah, absolutely. Boltman says name one EV that special edition that has not plummeted. Kind of basically said the thing, didn't I? I think it'll start to change. Most of the offerings up to last year have not been up to snuff. Only in this model year where we really start to see competitive tech. Insiders and people with close ties to Tesla will certainly buy these, but I do agree a lot could have been done with the S and the X. Many that bought into the robotaxi, robots, and AI narrative will certainly not mind and consider a necessary step to moving ahead with those plans. There's still too many questions, in my opinion. For one, it would have made sense to have solved autonomy and full self-driving before building robotaxis that do not have complete software to run on. Yeah, completing the bot before killing a profitable line, or at least a net zero line. It's true, one does not have to cut off their arm to try on a new shirt. Yeah, we've been saying that, he's running the thing like they're still a startup, and they can do two things now. They don't need to bet it all on black. Just keep doing what you're doing, and when the new thing takes off, shift everything over. But they don't listen to us. And not to say that, they doesn't know anything, but to say that we don't is also a little bit of hubris. Lucid as an alternative choice. At that price, yeah, you could look at a Lucid, no problem. 819 horsepower. It's a little lower than the S and the X. Oh, you're talking about the dual motor, not the plaid. Range, charging. Anyway, next. Share this tab instead. So Fred wrote that article. Narrative didn't have to end. You introduced the latest battery cell tech for faster charging, more range. You could have brought steer by wire and bidirectional. Yeah, they could have, but what would it have cost? Would it have made it up in volume? Well, if they'd actually just put any focus on it, they could have made it up in volume. Tesla's down to the last few hundred S and X's in inventory, pointing end of an era. Traded in my 2020 S for a brand new X Plaid before they discontinue it. Car's amazing. FSD hype is real. It blew my mind. Blah, blah, blah. Can you name one of those luxury SUVs sold profitably? No. Tesla also wasn't profitable until the scale of the 3 and Y. Doesn't mean luxury vehicles aren't profitable. Small factory Fremont, historically low volume, 1 to 5%. But it was the whole company for many years. Moving on. All right, so we talked about FSD in the Netherlands and the differences. Well, we talked about electric trucks. Workhorse has slashed their fleet, their prices by $60,000, and Purolator buys 100 of them. So Workhorse commercial fleet operators scrambling to electrify in the face of rising diesel prices can get a Workhorse W56 step van for nearly $60,000 less than before, and Ohio-based Purolator is taking advantage of the deal with a stout 100-unit order. 140 kilowatt-hour version, the medium-duty truck, last month. Now the company is making 210 kilowatt-hour versions more affordable, cutting $59,000 from its 178-inch standard wheelbase down to $196,000, and $61,000 from its 208 extended wheelbase, bringing them down to $204,000. The deal is made even sweeter by soaring gas and diesel prices, sweet enough, it seems, for Ohio-based delivery and logistics firm Purolator to place an order for 100 of the zero-emissions box trucks. Are they box trucks or step vans? Or did they order box trucks and they're showing us a picture of step van? Purolator has a long-standing commitment to adopting new and innovative technologies to make their fleet more efficient and sustainable, and we're honored to continue to support them. It still looks like a step van. Company's timing couldn't be better for fleet buyers, coming just days after France's finance minister confirmed that more than 30% of Gulf refining capacity has been damaged or destroyed by Iran's retaliatory strikes, leaving a shortage of 11 million barrels per day on the global oil markets and sending fuel prices surging. Commercial ground fleets have similar exposure to spikes in fuel prices as airlines, and the launch of this new model offers fleets a no-compromise option to control costs while still ensuring significant operations, adds Griffith. Because electricity costs are low, local, and immune to global oil shocks, super resistant, I would say, we believe that every electric truck in a mixed fleet can act as a buffer against volatility that is once again hammering operators who rely entirely on gasoline and diesel. Good comment. Purolator joins Workhorse customers Airmark, Cintas, and FedEx. The company's promotional pricing is available through the brand's existing dealer network through the end of September. Not a bad length of a sale. Prices are still insane given the risk the seller will go through. Well, the seller will go bust, and the operator remains sitting on expensive, potentially non-serviceable pile of boxes, e.g., Proterra. Yeah, but it's a risk they're going to have to take. 60K off what? What's the range? Well, all of that was in the article, wasn't it? I had to look it up. There's a whole ecosystem of EV sites covering the same news the same way, but one of them had real values. New pricing for 210 kilowatt W56 starts at 100. That was right there in the article. Maybe not the range. Puffy says, my rule still stands. If the discount is more than I would pay for the product, it will be wildly unaffordable. I mean, you're going to need to pay more than that discount to get even the gas version of some of these trucks. The regular iStep fans start about 80 new. I see them discounted to maybe 78 sometimes. So that makes the workhouse any more affordable. You aren't buying a new step fan with the amount they are already discounted. Purolator, along with everyone else that is buying Workhorse, primarily use Utilimaster vans. mostly supplied the chassis for Utilimaster's EV van workhouse sells Utilimaster body vans. Workhouse design improves the Utilimaster design fleet tested by them. So, if I'm understanding what he's trying to say there, is they use the same bodies they already use, so it's an even easier deal. Ram 1500 driver switches, so Ram 3500 driver switches to a Silverado EV, and the fuel savings are shocking. A few days. Diesel sitting around $6 a gallon on average. Writes Robert Wallace. My 23 Ram 3500 gets about 17 per gallon, which means every time I drive a mile, it costs me 35 cents. This week, Wallace got his hands on his 26 Silverado EV and was shocked. Getting about 2 miles per kilowatt hour out of 170 kilowatt hour battery. When I plug in at home, which is 85% of the time, I'm paying 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So driving the new electric trucks has cost me 5.5 cents per mile, down from 35. And this is at the home level. Imagine what can happen when you buy in bulk at a corporate level. For those doing the math, 35 cents is spending to drive the Ram over 500% more than the 5.5 cents it's costing him to drive the Silverado. Doing that much math on a more efficient Tesla Model 3, the 35-cent Ram costs 1,400% more to drive than the Tesla Model at 2.5 cents. Yeah, but if he's using it like a truck, the Model 3 cannot tow a giant load like his. It's not that big a load. A Model 3 probably could tow this, but assuming that he was using a 3500 for a reason, a Model 3 can't tow like that. While the Cybertruck and that truck can both do similar numbers to what he was used to with the 3500, both in payload and towing capacity. Not spot on, but if he did any sort of over provisioning, then there he is. All right, the screen is off again on the tablet. Let's turn it back on. All right, we're still good. Wallace did a great job sharing his experience on LinkedIn, writing out the math, and sharing that he drives a whopping 48,000 miles per year. If he drove those miles in the bladder-busting Silverado EV, he'll get more than $8,400 per year in savings. Check his post below. There you go. So he might actually make up the savings before fuel price stabilizes somewhere. Rural Americans are proud Americans. Unfortunately, every gallon of gas burned in their pickups and SUVs comes from oil that is either drilled, refined, or traded on global markets, and that means supporting oil business and economies of nations whose values don't always align with, or maybe even outright hostile to theirs. Great perspective and spot on. GT performance, spiritual driving, cost breakdown per mile. So yeah, so from 35 to 5.5. EV prices drop again as gas prices, as gas cars hit new record low. What? EV prices drop again as the gap with gas cars hits a record low. There we go. So the price parity is coming across the board. Prices are coming down. Smallest ever been with the new Blue Book. Average transaction price for EVs in March was 54,508, down 2.8% year over year, making the third month of declines. Prices also slipped 0.7 from February, which was lower. The drop is starting to matter. The price gap between EVs and ICE has narrowed to $5,800, the smallest gap Kelly has recorded, and that's whole market. Like there are options out there that are just darn sensible already. Okay, that's a better number. That explains what I feel that way. All right. Yeah, so we've talked about all these trucks that are coming towards price parity, and so the whole market is actually doing it. Nissan's new electric SUV secures nearly 8,500 orders in 30 minutes. Interesting, considering we started the show talking about how Nissan canceled the electric Xterra. The NX8 makes the Rogue look outdated. The new electric SUV is bigger than the Rogue and features some of the most advanced tech in the lineup. 30 minutes of launching, it booked close to 8,500 orders. Nissan reveals the new NX8 in China. Oh, that's why. Not in the States. Looks nice. A battery electric cruise ship may be closer than you think. Meet the Meyer Werft's Project Vision. The Meyer Werft, one of the largest and oldest shipyards in the world, has introduced a vision of zero emissions vehicles. Greetings, Timothy. Good to see you. If you think it'll take 50 years to deliver an electric boat of this size, you'd be wrong. It's only a few years away. Or it may only be a few years away. I'm going to assume you, like me, have never heard of the Meyer Werft, and if you have, congrats, you're a step ahead. Nerd. That's a German shipyard, roots dating back to 1795. In Wilder, that up until 24, the company was still family owned. Wow. And about 20% of Meyer Werft, and the federal government and state Saxony own the rest. In those 231 years of service, the shipyard has built 61 cruise ships, and it's looking at all electric. Nice. Still a concept for now, but could become a reality sooner than later. And you guys know me in concepts, but, well, this was intriguing. Look at that battery room. Company says it could deliver electric cruise ships by 2031. That's just 5 years from now. And let's see. Reduce CO2 emissions by 95% and set sail with a gross tonnage of about 82,000 gross tons. That size ship accommodates 1856 passengers. And we've seen plenty of electric boats over the last 5 years, which seem to be getting larger and larger, but nothing of this magnitude, at least in the passenger maritime segment. True, true. Okay, show picture. Someone is at doorbell, but no picture. Shipyard has not yet shared specs for the battery system shown in the image above, but did say Corvus Energy supplies it from Norway. We also don't yet know the range or capabilities of the electric cruise ships, like Vision. See, something like this would be harder to put solar on and, say, drag it behind or fly it above, because you generally want people sunbathing and stuff. Interesting. Not impossible, just just harder. But you can also do vertical panels on the outside as well. Harder to keep clean, but you also don't have passengers scaling the side of your ship. Top comment by Eric K. Ships seem the perfect use for battery electric. They already need huge amounts of weight for ballast, and batteries tend to be heavy. It'd be interesting to see an analysis of weight versus volume of typical ballast of a ship this size to the batteries needed. Also, the weight is consistent compared to fuel, which gets lighter as the cruise goes on. Good point. So we'll just watch this and see what happens. The concept alone was just enough for me to want to talk about it. Oshkosh ground support robots take on air travel's hidden costs. Okay, good idea. The short distance at limited speeds under relatively heavy loads. Ground handling equipment so at airports presents a nearly ideal case for batteries. Yeah. Bring it. So yeah, that was just the whole concept I wanted to touch on. Electric at the airport, autonomous or not, bring it. So we talked about Royal Enfield. Oh, here's some specs. IDC rated range of 96 miles from a 3.91 kilowatt hour battery. Pretty cool. All for under $3,000 in India. This one, I just saw the picture, and that alone wanted me to look at it. Easel, or Ezel, launches eye-catching wooden e-bike designed for urban commuters with style. And then I saw this, and I was thinking, well, what if it rains? I mean, it's probably fine, but Just where my mind went. Plenty of e-bikes focus on performance, plenty of focus on tech. Now and then a bike comes along, it feels more like a piece of art than a machine. Yeah. Interesting. Wooden bikes aren't new, but they're still rare, and it's part of what makes this one so interesting. They've been working on a wood composite frame since 2016, and while it might sound like novelty at first, it's actually a solid case for it. Wood's natural vibration dampening is real, and when engineered properly, it can offer a ride quality that's hard to replicate. With different materials like aluminum. Yeah, that's basically what got me, Mr. John. There, beautiful bike. And that was it with the wooden bike. We touched on this already. VW replaces the ID4 production with an 18 mile per gallon Atlas SUV as gas prices spike. Seems a little short-sighted. The Cantella boats, we talked about them. This one I was going to skip, but then I remembered how much we've touched on the GV90 and these coach doors. And the GV90 interior leaks, revealing next level luxury and massive screens. And I'm wondering when this thing is finally going to launch. We've been seeing leaks of it forever. Remember the Neolin concept, the full-size electric SUV Genesis revealed at the auto show 2 years ago? They're finally preparing to announce the new flagship later this year. And look, it appears to be almost identical to the concept. Ultra luxury division of SUVs, the epitome of timeless design. All right, so here was the concept. And oh, that's not bad. If that's the interior, they not the same, but they were faithful to it. I'll say that. Video is unavailable. It's been marked private. Yeah, somebody got in trouble at work for that. That's why it's private. They didn't delete it though. The UK is the largest solar farm, just got the green light. So we're looking at 800 megawatt solar farm in North Kesteven in England's East Midlands. To put the Springwell size in perspective, the US's largest operational solar farm is the 875 megawatt Edwards and Sanborn solar energy storage project in California. So they're within spitting distance of our largest, and ours is in sunny California, and theirs is in England. So again, Nevada talking about how you need gas and coal to keep up with data centers. Stop lying. Once Springwell comes online in 2029, it's expected to generate enough electricity to power more than 180,000 homes a year, roughly half of the homes in Lincolnshire. It is being developed by the EDF Power Solutions Limited and Loomis Energy, and is expected to have a 40-year lifespan. Easy, done. So that's what I had to say about that. Tesla's new supercharger for business tool reveals $940,000 all-in price. Not bad. It's way down from the last time I saw any numbers leaked out of their filings with local cities. But it's switched on a public configurator for supercharger for business program, and the numbers tell you exactly what it now costs to buy third party into the network. $500K in hardware and $940,000 all in for a standard V4 install site. Also puts out ROI estimates that swing wildly by location, from a 4-year payback in San Francisco to 7 years in Manhattan, and effectively places Tesla's own cut at a flat 10 cents per kilowatt hour. It's not terrible. Fixed items don't move with geography. Estimated hardware purchase price $500,000 for 8 V4 posts. Installation cost per post, medium tier, $55,000. Upfront investment including installation, $940,000. Revenue, 10 cents per kilowatt hour, all inclusive. What does move is the revenue side. Tesla's model pulls in localized electricity costs, median fast charging retail price, and expected utilization figure in kilowatt hours per post per day, all derived from Tesla's actual fleet data. That's kind of cool. The output is estimated 15-year revenue curve and payback period. That's not bad. You know what? I'm going to check the comments on that supercharger thing. As a business owner, the net 10 cents per kilowatt hour fee would kill this for me. It's egregious, rent seeking. I expect some kind of service fee, but not 30% of the gross margins. Interesting. No getting that extreme amount for what's basically just handling the credit card processing. But do they also just include the maintenance? Because if so, then that's actually a pretty good deal. He's selling brand to those still impressed with the brand. Caveat emptor. Caveat emptor. What do you get to keep this? Who do you get to keep your supercharger working? The world is full of awful operators of DC fast charge. Tesla's actually the best DC fast charge operator. This owner should look at return on investment and how much extra tariffs and profits superchargers pull in business. So I'll leave that argument alone. I was just curious what the sentiment was. UCV wave hit a sales record. A much bigger wave is coming. Yeah, because your gas is going crazy. The only higher wave came when people tried to lock in the incentives. Makes sense. Interesting that while new EV sales in the US have gone soft, used ones are selling pretty well. To me, that would suggest that people buying these vehicles are more sensitive to cost, total cost of ownership. We may be at a point where more American drivers decide to go electric primarily for economic reasons and not environment, performance, etc. I would say so. All right, and then in the Tesla driver passes out drunk on autopilot and arrested for DUI. Again, autopilot is not full self-driving. Full self-driving is not full self-driving. That's why they added supervised to the name. That's why we can't have anything nice. The driver was found passed out behind the wheel of his car as it drove itself through busy streets of Vacayville, California. I don't know how. It's a Model Y, which means that it can see him, which means that it should have been shutting down way before this. Caught the vehicle and arrested the driver on suspicion of driving under the influence of both alcohol and marijuana. It is the latest in a long stream of incidents where Tesla owners treated the automaker's driver assist as if it were a designated driver, and it keeps happening because Tesla keeps marketing that way. No. It keeps happening because of entitlement and hubris. Maybe a little bit of misunderstanding, but anyway, what happened? According to the Vacayville Police Department, dispatchers received a call shortly after 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 25th of March, from a community member who spotted another driver apparently slumped over and unconscious at the wheel of a moving car. Bigger problem is the car was still rolling through the busy streets on its own. The caller stayed on the line and fed real-time updates to dispatch, which allowed officers to catch up with the vehicle and bring it to a safe stop near El Maria Road and Shasta Drive. Police initially treated the situation as a potential medical emergency, which I think would have been a better outcome for this. It wasn't. Investigators say that the driver was under the influence of alcohol and marijuana and was arrested for DUI. Photos released by the Vacayville Police Department show a 4-pack of Stutter Home. Oh, serious? 4-pack of Stutter Home Cabernet Sauvignon and a round table pizza box on the passenger side of the cabin. In a statement, the police department took the opportunity to remind drivers that California drivers are permitted to use the new system natively. Newer systems, safety features in their vehicle, but like every other driver on the road, they still need to be conscious, alert, and not under the influence while operating them. There you go. Not the first time, and not even close. It's far from a new pattern. Electric has been documenting drunk drivers using autopilot for full self-driving as a chauffeur for years. 2018, a Model S driver was pulled over in California after sleeping drunk for about 7 miles on autopilot before officers could safely bring the car to a stop. That same year, another driver passed out drunk in his Model S and tried to use autopilot as a defense. I don't know why you would think that would work. They kind of tell you right up front that no, they don't do that. In 2021 in Norway, Tesla actually managed to bring itself to a stop after a drunk driver became unconscious at the wheel. just treated it as a feel-good story at the time, but really just illustrated the problem in a different costume. And that's why I'm surprised that this one was still moving, because the car can tell that you're not paying attention and can end that. And just last fall, we covered a Tesla owner who openly bragged on a video about driving drunk on FSD, arguing the car was a safer driver than he was. Names and locations change, the dynamic doesn't. Top comment is, why didn't the car come to a stop when it realized the driver was not conscious? That was my question as well. It came to a stop when it realized the police were trying to pull it over. At least it did that, because shoot, mine probably would try to go around the police or let them pass and then try to keep going. Let's be clear about the driver assist systems that aren't. Full self-driving and autopilot are level 2 systems. Drivers legally and operationally responsible for the vehicle at all times. Falling asleep at the wheel is not a feature, and it is a failure the driver monitoring system is supposed to prevent. People aim to abuse the system because they are overconfident and find ways around the driver monitoring. I guess he could have done that, but I don't understand how on the new system. Googly eyes? I don't know. The problem is that Tesla spent the better part of a decade marketing these systems with names like autopilot and FS. It's not the names. Releasing demo videos that show the car driving with no human input. Okay, that's part of it. Selling the package on the premise that the car will eventually drive itself. And saying how much better it is than human. When you tell people for 10 years that car can drive itself, you cannot act surprised when some of them get drunk and pass out. Yes, you can. We've said it before and we'll say it again. Tesla either delivers on actual unsupervised autonomy or stops selling the dream that it has. These stories will keep landing in our inbox. Can't blame the company for all of that, but yeah, the marketing doesn't help. This is what I don't get about the story. I use both autopilot and FSD regularly. The system is very quick at catching me not paying attention with flashing notification to take over. It will not keep going. And my car cannot see me because it's old. If I go to scratch my nose in a construction zone, it's very quick to say, hey, grab the wheel again. Like, I grabbed it with the other hand. I'm scratching my nose. I'm like, nah, grab the wheel. I don't think it's a good excuse, because with an unconscious driver, even coming to a controlled stop in the middle of the road is better than keeping going. Yeah, because it doesn't actually try to find a safe place to pull over yet. So maybe hardware 4 does, but hardware 3 just stops in the lane. It's easy to stop when it's an autopilot, get in front of it and slow to a stop. Yeah, autopilot, but not FSD. If it's an FSD, I think it might try to pass. Yep. But if it also recognizes police and fire emergency lights, then it will brake for those too. Give it that. My personal experience, it does not respond to emergency lights. I'm on hardware 3, stuck on V12, but Grok tells me it should, i.e. you'd be correct. Doesn't even come to a stop for police. So a bunch of hardware 3 folks up in here, along with me. Maybe a version of the car without driver awareness cameras. I don't think so, not from the picture. The drunk driver hacked the system to keep the safety logic from kicking in. How? If it didn't stop, that's on Tesla. If there was weight on the steering wheel, popular for this type of dumb butt, then that's on him. Would a weight on the steering wheel help if it sees you're not paying attention? At the end of the day, confusion over what FSD can and can't do hasn't changed. Tesla and Musk are still trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. In 26, they're pushing out robo-taxis that are literally using the same level 2 FSD technology that's been in Tesla's fleet of cars. Worse, they're trying to convince the masses that it's somehow level 4 capable. We'll see, that's where you're wrong, is here, level 2 versus level 4, 3, whatever they want to call it, is based on what they're selling it as. The robotaxi literally doesn't need anybody behind the wheel. Might be the same software, might be the same hardware, but is licensed and operated differently. So, it is also on a different build at the very least. Simply put, nothing has changed. Let's try to tell everyone FSD. Most people who speak English think that full self-driving means what it says, and there's the rub. But it says supervised. To be fair, the highway department shows autopilot FSD is actually safer than human driver. I wouldn't say it's wrong marketing, because the car generally does drive itself. It's just you are legally required to supervise it in most places. But that doesn't diminish the fact that it drives itself quite well. Yeah. But if you're not in possession of a robotaxi, you're expected to watch it. Many people do this. Most of the time, it's because if you don't break a traffic law, the police have no probable cause to pull you over. Oh, I'm trying to thumbs up. I was trying to get the seat more. So if you're sitting up in your seat like a normal person and the car is driving home, it's going to follow all the rules and not commit. Yeah, right. Not the Tesla system, as Lee and I talked about how that bad boy will speed like a jam. Now, if you're slumped over, sleeping in the seat, and you catch people's attention, like in this case, people are going to call the cops and have it pulled over. But I can see that actually would have saved some lives because if you're intoxicated, the car is going to drive better than you most of the time. It doesn't mean it's allowed until it doesn't. Yeah, exactly, James. On December 2020, DMV, Tesla Legal Counsel, admitted the limitations of self-driving technology. Yeah, but that was 6 years ago. That's different technology. And that was before the new computer. An additional suite of features built into from autopilot become more capable over time. Capabilities of autonomous system. Currently, no compromising feature. The matter is that he wasn't in a robotaxi. He was in a FSD supervised car, or even just autopilot car. Royal Enfield draws reveals first electric motorcycle specs, and they're ridiculous. 96 miles, 3.91 kilowatt hour battery, 154 kilometers, 96 mile figure, 71 mile per hour top speed, or 115 kilometers an hour, close to 70 to 100 kilometers at 40 to 60 miles. Okay. So shame it took me 6 articles to find more about it, but whatever. We talked about the also and the cargo bike attachment. Well, Radio Flyer has launched a new compact cargo e-bike designed to make family riding easier. Got a mom and her kids there. Neato. Radio Flyer back with another electric bike. This time, the iconic American brand is taking aim at one of the biggest barriers in the cargo e-bike space: intimidation. Launching today, the Radio Flyer Loop is a compact cargo e-bike designed to make family hauling more approachable without giving up the utility that makes cargo bikes so popular. The Flyer Loop presents Radio Flyer's third generation cargo e-bike platform, building on years of rider feedback and experience from its earlier models. According to the company, the new design draws from more than 1,000 customer reviews and maintains a strong 4.9 average across its previous lineup. That's kind of cool there. And the whole kit and caboodle. At the heart of the Loop is a more compact frame, roughly 4 inches, shorter than the earlier Cargo Flyer e-bikes. Meaningful difference when maneuvering through tight urban environments or storing the bike in apartments or smaller garages. Features a low step-through design, and its one size fits most frame that accommodates riders from 4'11 to 6'3, making it easier for multiple family members to share the same bike, 150 to 191 centimeters. Cool stuff. Oh, they even made it SUV-able. Even nicer. I say SUV-able, but that looks like it could be a Subaru, which would be more wagonable. And then I don't know. Because the modern crossovers are got that curvy roof thing going on, which is useless. Not only is it the basic price of $3,000 too high, you have to buy all those expensive extras for it to function in the promotional photos. Let's look at how much they want for these. Kid and cargo carrier hoop, $200. Cubby carrier, basically the above the hoop. Taillight turn signals, $380. Front basket, $200 for a basket, really. Kit and caboodle, or cubby caboodle, rear tub featured with the kids, $200. Or you could do what the sensible person would do and buy the electric Expedition Cargo 2.0. You get all the features of the Radio Flyer, plus 2 batteries, yes, 2 rear cushions, running boards for the kids' feet, suspension seat post, and a rear rail basket with pads for the kids. And these are all included for the $17.99 price. Seems like you got a name brand issue going on here. Interesting. Comparing the cargo bike versus like a used car or something. All right, we touched on the orange EV last week or a week before. But now the orange EV terminal tractors are cleaning up in Canada as well, not just in, what was that, California or Florida we talked about last? I want to say California. GLS Canada has become one of the first major parcel and freight carriers in the country to deploy heavy-duty electric yard hostlers at its logistics terminals, and it's helping the company clean up in a big way. And we talked about the advantages, and well, there you go. But while we're talking about yard dogs, we've got a new electric 4x4 robo tractor, which gains traction as ports plug in. Basically the same story, different manufacturer. The first regular production versions of the new 4x4 electric robo terminal truck by MOL and Volvo Penta have been put to work in European logistics giant DFDS, and hundreds more could be on the way. There you go. And the robo part being for these ferries that you roll on and roll off your cargo, rather than the container ship ports that we have here in the States and Canada. I mean, I guess you can still do ro-ro, but it's not as big a deal here, except for that we do our cars to ro-ro because they're cars. Broken EV chargers. This program places them for free. EV Averaged is rolling out a new program fixing one of the EV industry's most persistent problems, broken and outdated chargers that never seem to get repaired. Vienna, Virginia-based energy tech company launched its zero-cost swap program, which replaces old, unsupported, and broken EV chargers with new networked equipment with no upfront cost for the site. Public charger reliability is still one of the biggest complaints among EVs. So as long as the pricing is right and the locations are set up right, maybe in the middle of a bunch of useful spots like grocery shopping, movie theaters, that sort of thing, with a bunch of multifamily housing, this would be cool. Or a bunch of hotels or places where people stop for long periods and get the chargers back up. Averaged plays for removing old equipment, installing new chargers, and keeping them running. Under the program, the site host gets replacement of legacy or non-functional chargers with new level 2 or DC fast chargers. Full installation and activation are covered. 24/7 monitoring, maintenance, and driver support. Real-time alerts and remote diagnostics to help keep the chargers online. And optional revenue sharing opportunities. I guess they want a little cut for that. The company says the process is designed to be fast. In many cases, it can swap out old chargers using existing electrical infrastructure, avoiding new permitting and speeding up installation. Once the new chargers are in place, Averaged monitors and maintains them to keep the uptime high. The program is targeting a wide range of sites, including retail and commercial properties, municipalities, fleets, campuses, and hotels, and other public venues. For businesses, working chargers can bring in customers, broken ones do the opposite. Absolutely, especially if your competitor has a charger and you don't, they're going to go to the competitor. Especially if it's a free charge or a cheap charge. Or they're in a multifamily charging facility or multifamily housing situation, and then they don't have much choice. The U.S. war in Iran is pushing up gas prices and making a clear case for home solar. On today's independent episode of Quick Charge, we took a look at refining and distributing our own fuel supply with home solar as America's war in Iran rages on, shooting gas prices, and EV sales into the stratosphere. As diesel prices cross $8 a gallon in parts of California, and more Americans are shopping for EVs and hybrids, that's driving record sales of electrified vehicles for brands like Toyota and Hyundai. It also brought the ability to generate your own electric fuel with home solar systems back into the limelight, whether you qualify for tax credit or not. Yeah, I've been saying this for years now. 10 years ago, I built a passive solar home with 6.5 kilowatt hours. So I think you mean 6.5 kilowatts of photovoltaic. Between those and all the efficiency design elements that were designed in, those investments pay for themselves in 7 years. Even with charging my bolts, I'm still net positive with electric production. Good on you. Tesla Solar quoted me a roof with a price of a 100-year break-even period. The equipment would be dust long before that. Well, you don't need a Tesla Solar roof. They are pretty, but they are competing with premium roofs. What you want is solar panels on a roof or any other solar solution. And we also talked about community solar. So again, as Mark and I said last week before, get 3 quotes. And yes, they won't all be a beautiful solar roof, but solar panels don't have to be ugly either. You can get the black on black or whatever matches your roof. Daytime charging directly from solar is a huge win. Off-grid system with $800 of panels, inverter and charge controller can run the EV for decades. Yep. If your car is normally at work during the day, though, grid charging makes more sense. It can make more sense. Depends on your grid. Kind of violate our policy. Do you not understand how cheap solar is? 2,000 panels is enough to cover the electrical needs for the average driver if they drove electric instead, and those panels will provide a lot of electricity needed for 25 years. Interesting. 2,000 in my area is about 325 a watt installed. No batteries. That includes plans. Sounds kind of high. Get another quote, and also consider ground mount and community solar. Continuing on, our Rivian R2 EPA numbers: 217 kilowatt charge, up to 328 miles of range, and the heat pump updated. Notably, note how the range in all-terrain 20-inch tires reduce efficiency. Here we go. Is this the update, or is this still estimate? All these numbers optimistic? Yes, update, mostly because we interpreted the test wrong. All right, so here's the official numbers then. Lucid air, lucid gravity. No, those are not the Rivian. Originally I posted this article, we said that the efficiency numbers in the document seemed way optimistic. Turns out suspicions were partially correct, mostly because we misinterpreted the results. EPA applies a correction factor. Yep. After applying the correction factor, we apply the numbers above. R2 looks like it will get a combined MPGE of 109 with all-season tires and 99 with all-terrain tires. Not bad. Okay, and next, we talked about the UK's largest solar firm. And close this and this. Milepost acquires MERS charging station for everyday charging in Sweden. Milepost AB, Sweden's first independent EV charging operator focusing on everyday charging, has acquired MERS' Swedish network of charging stations for everyday charging. Most of the charge points deliver 22 kilowatts, however, a few support up to 50. Not bad. And they said this was level 2, so that's pretty good. Talked about the drunk FSD driver, Royal Enfield, and I'm not even going to talk about the California e-bike bill because it's I closed it. That's why. But basically, in California, there's a proposal that if your e-bike doesn't have 2 dedicated real seats, you can't put somebody in the back, even if it has that long bench seat. So we'll see where that goes. And with that, I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank folks like Timothy and Anders for your continued support of the channel monetarily. I thank folks like Lee for active participation, Star for coming in and then participating as usual. And Robert, good to see you again. And we will catch everyone on the flip side. And I hope everybody is as well. For those of you in the US, remember taxes are due in 3 days if you haven't already done it. So get on it. See you on Monday for the Tesla Life Express and Wednesday for the Tesla Life Live. Catch you next week.